Well, do we want to jump into the question here and kick this thing off, or we want to just revel in the silence for another hour?
We can kick it off. I'll click off the button. Or click on the button for the I cannot talk. Just go on. Do it.
I pushed Richard into the water. Goodbye.
Not Fergus, Richard. The actual player. Richard, in real life, a dwarf pushes you into a swimming pool.
I always knew this is how it would end.
Oh no, the prophecy!
A shrink told my grandfather.
Hold on. Put something in the chat now. I have to read it.
So basically, it's a Highlander.
Mm-hmm.
There can only be one.
Pretty much. Still an interesting concept.
If I ever play a Warlock with us, I am definitely going to play a Highlander-style character. There can only be one.
Turns out he just has a really big family and he just murders them whenever he sees them. Yeah, I had an idea for a character I might do sometime. That's the textbook definition of like every one of those internet stories you hear of like the really edgelord rogue.
Mm-hmm.
He always talks about how his family is murdered and how edgy he is. His family is very much alive. They're looking for him. They're concerned because he just ran off one day.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just the nicest people.
Everyone thinks that they're like secretly horrible people, but then as they get to know them, they realize they're genuinely nice people.
Yeah, and they're just really worried.
They start knitting sweaters for the party.
Knight. Your name's Stephen Smith.
My name is Nightshade Murderstab.
Leviticus Nightingale.
Mm.
Alternatively, you could be a rogue that just goes around creating more rogues by killing parents and orphaning kids.
No, and then there's a party member that the rogue actually just absolutely despises, and they get adopted by the family.
That sounds like a Mutants and Masterminds villain. Someone who goes around murdering billionaire parents to make more superheroes.
Just try to make Batman.
They're actually like an anti-villain where they're
that's the thing. They think they're the hero because they're making more villains. They're making more heroes. They're bringing more good into the world.
Yeah.
It takes a couple eggs to make an omelet.
If I keep shooting billionaires, I'll eventually make a Batman. Laws of probability.
If you're gonna spend all this money fighting superheroes so that you can kill billionaires, wouldn't you be better off just becoming a superhero? No. You don't get it.
I have no right to become the moral voice of a superhero. Do you know how many people I've killed? Yeah, you gotta trap it in circular logic like that.
Yeah.
All right. So, question for this week. It's going to be slightly different for one of you. It's how do you react to learning that Fergus has a fiance? Or in the case of Fergus, how do you react to now everyone knowing?
So, how'd you
Can you repeat that?
How did you react to learning that Fergus has a fiance? Granted, for Jiggles, this might be significantly more mundane.
Yeah, he was happy for him. Congratulated him.
I think Nolgrim will be happy and curious at the same time.
Fergus is expecting at least 50% less marriage proposals or arranged marriages setups in the future.
Fine, I'll stop proposing.
Yes, we all know your beard is beautiful, but get away from me.
Since no one's really confronted it, I think Frey would be like, I can't believe I never asked. Did everyone else know about this?
A little light shock. That's understandable.
Ivy, single tier.
Nah, it's Ivy and Nolgrim all the way. And of course, Miku and Thrum.
Miku doesn't understand what's going on at all. He's a non-sexual being, that one. Like orcs.
How can you be
Warhammer.
non-sexual? Your whole body is shaped like a penis.
I read in a book, a Warhammer 40k book, that orcs don't have a word for the human concept of love. The closest thing they have is a word that means the enemy I like to fight the most. That's the closest thing they have to love. Is I really like trying to kill this person. It gives me life.
I mean, I've seen relationships like that.
Yeah. That just leaves Taskell to answer the question.
So we know he has one. Did it get expounded upon as to who, or?
Has one, and you heard that it was a halfling.
Not particularly happy about that, but the gods clearly have some sort of plan involved in all this, so away we go.
That's a nice range of reactions there. Straight up topped off by Jigless just being like, oh, Muzzle Top.
Now I'm curious what Thrum's reaction would have been, just out of curiosity.
A few angry bubbles popping.
A whirlpool forms in the middle of the sunless sea as he's just spinning around in his watery grave.
You did not know that air bubbles could be racist. But they somehow managed.
I always suspected it.
Right, move you over to the map. Put on the Sunless Sea music, as I will give you guys a last time. So last time, you guys finally got your ship, a used vessel by the name of the Scrimshaw. However, before you were able to set sail, Fergus, in the dead of night, or whatever passes for that around here, was confronted by the Namer, who was wearing his own face, in which the creature extorted Fergus for the Black Iron by threatening the existence of Fergus's fiancée. In the process of handing over, Fergus touched the Black Iron, which did some magically wombo jombos on his brain. But he then handed it over and was quite upset about it. And after a commune with Father Mountain from Taskell, you guys all decide to set sail onto the Sunless Sea. You started out by trying to pursue a two-bow ship who was apparently on its way somewhere into the Sea of Black Glass, but you ultimately decided to turn around and wait by a tunnel entrance outside of the Gaunt Sea to attempt to ambush another ship. But after 3 days of waiting, so far, nothing has happened. Outside of a clash with some particularly violent wildlife.
And some low-grade madness.
Yes, that too. Which reminds me, as per feedback last time, I have adjusted the rules for how stress works a little bit. I have lowered the DC from a 20 to an 18, but now, instead of being a charisma saving throw, it can be your choice of a wisdom, intelligence, or charisma saving throw. However, whichever one fails, you then all future saving throws until you get stress removed is one lower on that one. So if you fail your high... What?
I said, that sounds fun.
Yeah, so you get your choice, but you might start hurting your high one if you use it. But if you use your low one, then it's less likely to succeed. So on your sheets, if you guys mark down, because I know several of you did accrue stress last time, you can just go ahead and convert that to whatever mental ability save strikes your fancy. All right. So we regain our story as you guys have just finished killing a blind brute, a large, almost centurion-like shark-like creature, and it is currently having its carcass hauled on deck of the Scrimshaw, where the crew is proceeding to fleece its body of flesh to get the bones out of its knuckles and hands that could be sold as ivory. It would be a rather petty payday back at Dinport, but it would be a small one.
I imagine we don't have to. If it's just getting the ivory off of it, it can sit if we decide to go do other stuff.
Yeah, it's literally just bones without flesh. It'll be fine. You're not on a timer on that.
Yeah. I was like, otherwise, what's the point of even fleshing it out? Because that's not going to even recoup our losses at this point.
Yeah, exactly. But even the bones are still fine. They'll hang around. No timer on that. So, as the new day metaphorically dawns, what is the decision amongst the crew?
All right, listen up, folks. We need to do something before we go back.
This has been less than spectacular. I suggest we go look for a whale. Hopefully we see a ship along the way.
Sounds like the best move, to be honest. That way, win or lose, or either way, we get something, ideally.
Yeah, this seems like the best at this point. Try to eke out whatever meager gain we can from this horrible voyage.
Ivy speaks up. It's either that or we just go try to find this sea of ghosts just straight away.
And there's
Like, I know we know the general direction of it. I just don't know. Like, I think Jiglis is the one that has the more knowledge of where that is.
Yep. So we are on the western side of the Gaunt Sea, and the Sea of Ghosts is on the eastern side of the Gaunt Sea.
Yeah, you are currently in the Sea of Black Glass, but you're at the tunnel connecting the Gaunt Sea and the Sea of Black Glass.
Yeah.
So far west Gaunt Sea, far east Black Glass.
Yeah. That way to the Ghost.
As much as I loathe being on this boat more than I have to, I would think that we might want to secure a payday. I imagine we're talking about this outside of like the main crew.
Yeah, it's very fair.
We might want to secure a payday before we risk going into the Ghost Sea or whatever it's called, as we want to instill as what little loyalty we can in the crew that might, because they might just try to mutiny as soon as they realize they're going into a place that's considered a death trap, isn't it?
I mean,
yeah. They're wandering ghosts.
People have come back, to be fair.
People have come back, but it's not a good place to go. And for a voyage so far that's gone rather poorly, I can't imagine a lot of them are going to be super stoked.
I think having a payday in the hull will bolster their willingness to cooperate with us. So I say I'm on board with going up to the whale, see if we could find a hole, and then decide if we want to do a hard eastern voyage or see if we want to hunt down a ship while we're at it.
Sounds good to me. Well, then I suggest we head north here in the Sea of Black Glass until we hit the tunnel over to the Sea of Amber Mists.
All right. So is the heading to start heading north?
Yep.
Get on it, Jiglis. You're the pilot.
All right. And as a soft reminder, you guys can move 12 hexes. So pretty speedy.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just double check. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I only know it's been a week, but I need to remind myself about all my notes. And you guys are still going with your lights on, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
I believe we are.
Yeah, that's how you had
Yeah,
it
no
last time.
reason to turn them off yet.
Okay. So you want to head north into this hex here?
Yes.
Okay. Revealing. You see that small tunnel on the side there. You do believe that leads back into the Gaunt Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Gumbo, I have a question.
Yes.
While we're traveling,
Hmm?
I want to. Well, I'm still going to look out for dangers and other ships and
Hmm.
stuff. But I also want to, when we do get close to the edges or something,
Hmm.
since the spyglass has better vision than anyone else would really have, I want to keep a lookout for any cave systems that look like they might be interesting.
Okay.
Just as a idea of maybes.
Sure. Absolutely. So far, nothing super eventful there. Jigless, give me a strength boat proficiency test as you're coming up on another pillar. Okay. That is a failure, but it was spotted, so it'll do 3d10 damage. Your ship's hull hardness will probably eat this outright. Yeah. I don't remember the hardness off the top of my head, but it's greater than 10. I remember that. So. Yeah, damage threshold for your hull is 12, so no damage. Alright.
How much damage did our hull take from that last fight?
It damaged your propulsion system, if I remember correct. It was one of the wheels.
That's right.
I believe it did 25 damage, so thank you for reminding me of that, because that means you're moving at 3/4 speed.
Can we repair that while we're underway?
Not while you're moving. You'll need to hold still because it's currently in the process. So.
I was muted. We probably should get that fixed before we break into the other sea.
Yeah, I think we just need to clear out of where we just got into that fight. Tremor, did we kill it or did it flee?
Nope, you killed it, and then
We
you took
killed
its
it, okay.
bones.
That's right.
There were some dire leeches that fled, but they weren't the
right.
primary threat. Okay. Right. Give me another strength test as there's a pillar, another boat test, because pillars are coming up. Okay. No damage at all that time. Okay. So far, Fergus, you're not really seeing anything interesting cave-wise, though it does look like, though the walls are narrowing a little bit, you're coming close to opening to larger sea of black glass coming up.
I would say we hold off here and begin to repair our wheel.
Sounds good to me.
You still have 6 more hexes of movement if you had wanted
For
to.
the day?
Yeah, for the day.
Okay, I thought you said we were moving at half speed because
3/4 speed, so 12
so
minus 2.
9 instead. Or
No, okay, yeah, I guess that would be 9. So allow me to correct. You have 5 more hexes of speed left.
okay.
Since we've got it done something today, and repairing the wheel would be an activity, can we stop and repair the wheel with the rest of the day?
Yes, you could move 1 more hex, and that would be like the normal 12 hours of travel, like as if you were walking. Because remember, the normal moving all the hexes you can do in a day is running the crew day and night, which is normal.
That's right.
So if you want to just move 1 more hex, then that would
Be one shift, and then the
Yeah,
second
it'd be
shift
like
can
one shift.
repair the wheel.
exactly.
Okay, so maybe go over one more and
All right.
Yes. Don't continue north into the wall. I'm a genius when it comes to navigating.
So, looks like the Sea of Black Glass opens up this way, and especially since you said that you were keeping an eye out, Fergus, you do notice here there is a very small. It is big enough for your ship to sail through, but it's a very small, low tunnel. It's probably not going into another sea, but it is. It's very much like a small cave, a narrow path to go.
Jiggles, do you know anything about this cave, or have you been near it before?
That one I don't think I have. We could pull into it and do our repairs in there.
Maybe on the just outside of it, and I can, if we can angle it properly, I might be able to get a deeper look in with the spyglass.
Sure.
So we'll park nearby the entrance to this cave
Mhm.
and angle it in such a way that I might be able to look deeper in with the spyglass.
Sure. Give me a perception at disadvantage.
I will just FYI, I'm going to use a D8 of superiority to add to this, even
Awesome.
regardless of the roll.
17 is pretty good. Oh,
So
now it's 22.
Yep, 22.
Looking down there, it looks like you don't know how far it is, but it's probably at least a mile or two before it bends. It looks like it's fairly consistent in size, where you could fit your 1 bow through here. If you had a larger ship like the 3 bow that Captain Hellspit had, you would be in a problem, but the smaller 1 bow wouldn't have an issue. The interesting thing you do notice, since you got above a 20, is that it is very faint, and it takes you a minute to realize it. There's a very, very small amount of light coming from that direction.
Okay, I would.
It would be so small that you wouldn't even normally notice, but this is the Underdark, and the Sunless Sea in particular is especially pitch black.
Yeah, so I would inform the group here, like when we're talking in private about it.
Does the tunnel look natural or man-made?
It looks natural.
So this could be like a setup for either drow or other pirates that could prove beneficial, but it could also be some kind of creature that lures things in with light.
Do I know of a cave-dwelling creature that lures things in with light? The anglerfish.
Give me a nature.
I would roll, but I don't think I would know anything about the Underdark, so...
Nothing springs to mind. Most of the predators that you know of down here use the darkness to their advantage. Even the legendary and storied deep kraken that's supposedly down here is said to hunt in complete darkness.
Would I be able to do a nature roll? I'm not trained in it, but I have a decent intelligence.
Yeah. The DC will be a bit higher because you're not as storied down here.
Probably not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I didn't roll. I have nature, but I don't think I would actually know anything about it. Like, I have a +7 in nature. Damn, I just noticed that.
Mhm.
Nope. I think only that's 2 legs use light down here, so might be a good hit, good potential.
Well, maybe we should get our ship shape and check it out. You said our big ship can fit through here?
Yes, your one boat can. If you had a larger ship, it might be a problem.
Yeah.
But
So it wouldn't be a target for a bigger ship in there, but who knows? Maybe it's a little pirate crew.
It could also be a smaller exit, and then there might be another exit on the other side that's larger. I don't know.
I don't know.
Could be useful information regardless of anything else.
I always enjoy exploring the Sunless Sea. Just when you think you're like me and you know every single square inch, you find this random cave that you've never seen before.
I swear to God, if this turns out to be like the home of your people or something, I am going to be livid.
My people.
Welcome, Jiggles. We have been waiting for you.
yeah, it turns out Jiggles is like the normal one. All I can imagine is I know Richard's seen it, but the show Enchanted, not Enchanted, or whatever it is, the one by Disenchantment, where there's the character Elfo, who's like a total weenie.
Hi, I'm Elfo.
Yeah, he's friendly and everything's about candy, and he's a total weenie until they go to the elf town where he came from. Because he said, like, I don't know if I want to go back there, guys. I kind of stormed off. I've got my badass reputation. They're like, yeah, you, a badass. And everything there is so much more lame. And they're like, okay, we owe you an apology. Turns out you were the town badass. That's a good
Sorry, I forgot to mute.
I thought you were just playing more into the Jiggles thing.
No, I was taking cough medicine.
Oh.
Ugh, it's a prescription one too, so it's extra gross.
Did you just throw up?
No, but I wanted to. Okay.
Alright, so let's see. The best. Let's see. Is anyone here proficiency in carpentry tools? Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Looks at Freya.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Then why don't you give me one of those tool checks? It can be intelligence. You can do it at advantage because, of course, you got the crew helping you out, and you have ample parts.
All right. What are my options of tools?
Just woodworking for now.
Or I thought you said carpenters as well.
Or carpenter, sorry.
Okay, yeah, because I have carpenters. It's just my lowest one, which is why I asked, and I didn't quite hear what you said. All right, at advantage.
Oh, shit. Okay.
We now have 3 wheels.
Roll me, let's a 3d10 plus your intelligence.
Freya rigged up
He
outboard.
unlocked Tokyo Drifting. The Deja Vu song begins to play, and we all just slide in.
Guys, I think I just invented the 747. What is my modifier at this point? It is a 5, so plus 5.
Cool. You managed to fully repair the wheel.
Nicely done.
So am I getting paid by the hour?
Get paid in exposure. And I don't mean like the business sense. I mean like exposure to the elements.
No, you get paid an exposure as
good,
if the guy who's paying you has a trench coat, and you don't want that kind of exposure.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Jiggles
say,
flashes
oh,
you,
thank
but
God,
there's
I thought
nothing
you were about
there.
to take off your pants. You get paid in exposure. And by that, I don't mean, please don't take off your pants, man. Please keep those on.
All right, fine, but the offer's on the table.
I'm what you'd call a reverse stripper. They pay me to keep my clothes on.
I feel like I'd be very good at that. All right, let's go down this tiny tunnel where there's a light at the end of to
We'll
meet
take
that which we don't know in the undersea darkness.
the rest of the day, so move you forward. So don't forget to be keeping track of your ship's food for your crew, because it's another day has passed.
Yep, I'll go ahead and edit the bag of holding. We have 41 days of rations left.
Okie. Just checking some stuff here. All right. So I will reveal the next hex as you guys are going into it.
I will say, if I'll broach the topic to the group, I think we should go in here with our lights off, and me and Freya both utilizing our spyglass abilities to kind of help guide Jigless.
Yeah,
So we can go in nice and dark.
I concur. Tell the crew all to be quiet, like we're in the Gaunt Sea.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No guff about that. It's the Sunless Sea. That's pretty standard safety procedure.
I'm trying to be good about stating things beforehand, because I know sometimes we get into it and we're like, oh, we've meant to say this, but we don't remember to.
Yes. No, I get that, and I appreciate that. Something I'm working on too. Try to avoid that thing that I see some other people do, where they literally just shout their idea the minute it pops into their head.
Yeah. God, I have so many bad ideas. I would never do that.
I have to put things through the mental censor first.
Mm-hmm.
So you progress down a couple mile long, really narrow cave. The ceiling, while it's enough room for you guys to walk around in, if you were in a full-on, like, normal surface tall-masted ship, there is no way you would fit. The mast would get broken off because it's like 10 feet above your head.
Mm-hmm.
So low by ship standards, fine by personal standards. But eventually, after a couple miles down this windy, narrow cave river, the space opens up, and with everyone using their dark vision and Milgrim using the Forge Friend Helm familiar for scouting, you guys find yourself in a, compared to the rest of the Sunless Sea, small flooded cavern, but it is filled with just jagged stalagmites and tights from the floor and the ceiling coming up through the water. They're not made of obsidian, so you're able to see them easily enough. Slows you down weaving through them, but you're safe enough. The interesting thing about this place is that it smells absolutely foul. Like something is rotting in the stagnant air. But as you are progressing deeper and deeper in, the light is becoming gradually brighter. Still very dim, very, very dim, but it's bright enough that even with the naked eye, you can kind of try to go towards where it is brighter.
Keep on heading that way.
I would say weapons at the ready, but we're on a pirate ship with people who would probably want to kill us if they could. I think we always have weapons at the ready in some way or form.
All right. As you are progressing, you remind me again, who's on lookout? Fergus and
Freya, I think, is often on lookout with like alternating shifts with me and stuff. So I imagine during this we'd probably both, because we have
the
rather
dark
long
vision
distance perception
goggles
with our crossbow and spyglass. So
yeah. Why don't you both give me a perception check real quick?
just a flat roll.
Yeah, just a flat roll.
What is Freya's perception, by the way? I was just asking if we want to do it. Like, you want to
Freya's
assist me? Or...
perception is 2.
I have a +6, so I wasn't sure if you wanted to aid
Okay.
or we can just do
Yeah,
it separate.
Yeah, I'll just aid.
Yeah, either way, I'm fine with that.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to metagame too much, but it just
No, that's fine. It's that's something like I discussed in a side chat with Loki. I realized is that when he's looking through his familiar's eyes, technically, as rules as written, either he or the familiar can give the aid action to the other. So then you can just roll once at advantage. So that's something I hadn't thought about before.
So that's 24. I rolled it with a superiority die.
All right. You see giant ass tentacles impaled on the stalactites. As you're tracking over it with your spyglass, you see the just biggest squid-like monster you had ever seen. It even goes beyond what you can see with dark vision through your spyglass. But you now realize what the rotting smell is there is a giant, very much dead kraken bleeding into this place.
Is that what the light's coming from?
No, actually. As you pan across, not too far from one of the larger sections of this kraken's body, you see a pillar of stone, very much natural, like one of the stalactites rising out of the water, but the top of it has been sheared off. And on top of it is a manor. And in this old wood and stone manor, very unusual construction for the Underdark, there is a window that seems to have light coming out of just one window.
So, guys, this place is inhabited by somebody who can apparently kill a kraken. I assume
It's
that's what
gonna
it
be that
is.
fucking wizard sitting down having a cup of tea, isn't it?
I really hope not.
I give it
Do we-
even odds.
Do we wish to approach, or should we not hedge our bets?
Feel we
Could
could be
we-
neighborly. I'm up for trying our luck.
Well, I'll leave it to Freya because she's
I
technically
feel
the
like
captain.
if someone lives all the way out here, they don't want guests.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we even approach? How tall is the pillar?
It is about I would say 60 feet high, but let's see, what was your perception check? 24. You do see that at the base of the pillar there is a very small, like, stone dock, probably big enough normally for a rowboat, but you could pull up next to it. And from that dock, there is a staircase that zigzags back and forth up the same side of the pillar. And that staircase is barely wide enough for one person. It's one of those things where, even though this manor clearly is not like a defensive structure, trying to move like any amount of troops up that narrow staircase would be suicide, because you could just push one rock and everyone would come tumbling down.
Do krakens have teeth?
Yes.
I imagine they have a beak, like most squid do.
With teeth inside of it? Is there anything on this kraken we can salvage?
The calamari has probably gone off.
I don't want to eat it, but I was just thinking, inside their beak, don't they have
Sorry,
teeth?
Wait, no, I have to correct the record.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the kraken
give
has
me-
a beak with teeth inside of it.
Give me a history check at advantage there. Jigless. Almost said no.
Ooh, at advantage.
That's enough. There's only one kraken that you've ever heard of in the Sunless Sea, and that is the fabled deep kraken. It's like a legendary monster that's existed down here since time immemorial. and it's apparently dead, which is news to you because that is a
Is there a reward out for killing the Kraken?
that's like saying there's a reward for trying to kill a hurricane. You don't fight the deep kraken, you survive the deep kraken.
Although if you defeat a hurricane, I imagine you'd be pretty wealthy and famous.
Well, don't tell that to the former president of the United States. Guy wanted to nuke a hurricane because he thought China was shooting them at us.
So, most
I think
powerful
you
creature
kinda
in
made a point.
in the Underdark Sea has been killed by whoever lives in that house. Should we go knock on the door?
I mean, if we want to just have one person, I'll fucking go up there. I don't give a shit.
go along
No,
with-
definitely not you. You're us down, Fergus.
Fine.
I'll go knock.
I just picture Freya walking over to Fergus and just putting her hands on his shoulders and sitting him in a chair.
Yeah, Nolgrim, why don't you and I walk up there?
Yeah, that works. Stick
Nothing
close
else,
to me.
just introduce ourselves.
Yeah, and worst case scenario, I'll teleport us out of there and we could get going, hopefully before we bother him too much.
This will be fine.
Yeah.
All right. So, you pull up to the little dock, I assume is what your plan is there.
Yeah.
It's no problem. No rolls or anything necessary. The stone on the little dock is very slick, but it's not a problem. And you begin winding your way up the very narrow stairs.
Putting out vibes of happiness and peace and love.
Definitely, if you were trying to ascend these stairs in any amount of hurry, there would be like dexterity saving throws to not slip and fall. But thankfully, you're not in a hurry. You're under no duress. It's mainly just everyone in the ship below silently watching you ascend beyond their dark vision, and occasionally like an albino blind bat, which sometimes frequent parts of the Underdark swoops past. You eventually reach the top of the stairs, where there is a cobblestone wall around the edge of the manor that's flush with the edges of the stone pillar that you just climbed up. Jiggles would have no way of knowing this, but Nolgrim, you notice right away that this cobblestone is definitely a different variety of limestone than anything you've seen in the Underdark here. And it's definitely a cobble that's in a very much a human building style.
Mm-hmm.
And in front of you is a heavy wooden door, not fungus wood, wood.
Mm-hmm.
That's got iron bars. It's got like one of those like those little shutters on it that have like the little metal bars over it.
Yeah.
And then an iron knocker.
Before we knock or anything, Nolgrim wants to look around and see if there's any sort of indication who might be living here. You know, any sort of insignias or names or anything like that.
Nothing that you can see, and like as a mental picture, like the door that you're right in front of is like flush with the stairs. Like Jiggles behind you is like have to be on the step lower than you
Okay.
to be up here. You got like no room to maneuver.
Do you want to knock, Jiggles?
Sure.
Right. Carefully.
Hold
swap
hands while we
positions.
switch places. He'd grab the iron knocker and give it 3 raps.
Ka-thung, ka-thung, ka-thung. And it like echoes throughout this entire cave. And it's quiet for a moment before you hear the faint sound of feet on gravel and faint grumbling and the jingling of metal. There's a small thump on the lower section of the door, almost like something got pressed up against it. Then you hear thunk, thunk, and then an undoing of a lock, and the little slot slides open, and you see two beady eyes surrounded by gray skin. You can just see the faint hairs of like a mustache or a beard below the nose. Sees Jigless, eyes move. Sees Nulgrim. You see little eyes narrow. Speaks in undercommon. Yeah, what do you want?
I just wanted to introduce myself and see who lived here. I'm Jigless the Bold. This is my friend Nulgrim.
Making social calls, then?
Indeed.
We saw your quarry out there and just had to see if we could meet the person that fell such a powerful creature.
Yeah, the Master would as well. This is Valecroft Manor. Your business done here, then?
Is there any sort of knowledge roll I could roll to see if that name rings any bells?
It would be an extremely hard disadvantage history, but it is definitely a human name.
I'll give. Is this something that the disadvantage could be nullified by the helmet or no?
No, it knows dwarven history, not human history.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Started off strong, but then
it's human.
Worse. Okay.
So,
Well, if you ever need anything, again, the name's Jigless the Bold from Denport.
He wouldn't
Happy to
happen to
help.
be, real quick, familiar with another man by the name of Caliburb, would he?
This face is quiet for a second. Goes, wait here 2 minutes. Closes, locks. You hear footsteps going back towards the house.
Who's Caliburb?
A small robotic bug flies off of your shoulder, and you hear Freya all the way from the ship go, "I knew it!"
That is a very potent wizard we met before we descended this far down, back in the fungal jungle.
Interesting. Is it a good thing that you recognized him?
Too early to tell. We had mixed. I mean, the guy is interesting and powerful, and we'll leave it at that for now. Just be cautious, because on first greeting you turn Fergus into a frog.
What?
You hear the footsteps coming back. More funk, and then the thing slides open. The face comes back. The Master would be interested in meeting with you, if you would be amenable to coming inside.
Would it be okay if I brought in the rest of my family? We all had meetings with Caliburb, and I think we'd all have a fair amount to share and discuss, really, at least of our journeys.
A dwarven family?
Mostly.
Fine. Get them up here fast. Knock on the door again when they're all up. And he just slams it.
Also, that's two. Probably say not his name again.
Yep.
Technically, Freya has to say it 3 times.
No girl will send off the helmet to pass on word of the interaction.
So certainly all the PCs...
I'd love to have the meeting with you, sir, but I've got to bring my cousin Mike and my aunt Karen.
And my other cousin Mike.
Call him Big Mike because he's bigger than Little Mike.
Medium Mike. This is Micah.
Mikey Jr., Mikey Sr.
We just call this one Mick.
This one's Michael Myers. This one's the other Michael Myers, but this one's the funny one. This one, we don't talk about him much.
Mhm.
Oh,
Michael's
Miguel,
an ugly
he's
common dwarven name.
I would say when we leave that we basically leave all of our cohorts here to keep an eye on the ship.
No problem. You climb back up. You knock on the door. The thing opens up again. The face looks out, sees more dwarves gathered down the stairs, and goes, "Hold on." Closes, and then you just hear like the jingling of like a bunch of locks and slides and everything being undone from the door, and the heavy iron bar moving to the side. And this door that was like easily like a half a foot thick of wood swings inward. And before you see a Derogar holding a lantern, a lit lantern, giving off like a sickly green light. And he says, "All right, follow me. Stay on the path. Don't wander off." And he just starts walking towards the manor.
And this is why I didn't bring Ivy.
Ogre will follow.
You. So, what's your master's name?
Valecroft.
I know he already rolled. Can I roll as well since I'm more familiar with human people?
Yeah, it would still be a disadvantage though.
That's fine. I just wanted to ask since
Mhm.
it seems like something I might actually know more a little bit.
Mhm.
History disadvantage. I can't wait for that double one.
Yeah, 10 is still not enough.
Yeah, I didn't think so. It was worth a shot.
Mhm.
I just follow them.
All right. So let me change this around. You guys enter. You go up. It's like a small, like raised porch before the door, double doors. Which this Drugar pulls out like a ring of keys off of his belt and fumbles through them and unlocks the front door. Very finely carved wooden door. As I said, not fungus wood, all wood. And he takes you into a hallway, a grand hall where it's like lined with pillars, and there's a staircase at the other end, a hanging chandelier that is unlit. The place smells heavy of dust, and there's definitely some cobwebs around, more due to neglect than disrepair. And you see that there is a doorway to the left where there's just the faintest hints of a flickering like orange candlelight coming out from it. And the Drugar starts leading you to there, or more accurately, just walking directly there and assuming that you're following. And he pushes open these double doors, and he says, "Master, presenting the honored guests." Turns to you guys. The fuck your names?
I'm doing Ogre and Runic. This is Jigless and Fergus.
Yeah, I already don't care. It's the dwarves. And he just steps aside, and you guys walk in, and you're in a like a grand dining room that's got like a long wooden table lined with chairs, and there is a candelabra, only one lit, with 3 candles, and at the far end of the table, maybe 15 feet away from you guys see a human man, maybe in like his mid 30s, pushing early 40s, in finely tailored like casual wear, dark like shoulder length hair, slicked back, and he is like frantically stacking books and rolling up scrolls real quick, like he was in the middle of poring over something, and he's trying to tidy up real fast. And you guys got here too soon. He goes, "Oh, sorry. Give me a moment. Now swap it over from the spooky sea music to this." And he goes, "Sorry. As you can imagine, I wasn't expecting company. When I moved to the Underdark, I was sort of expecting to remain isolated. And he's speaking in common, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Jiggles doesn't speak common, does he?
No.
A common misconception.
Yeah. Hello. My name is Alexi Vailcroft. Gives a little half bow. Hog, that'll be all. And the Duergar goes and just walks out and closes the door behind him. He says, I'm sorry for his manners. He's testy.
Oh no, he's a lovely fellow. He's honestly one of the top 10 Duergar I've met since I've been down here.
Well, I'm working on it with him. Please, sorry, I would have refreshments or things set out, but as I said, was not expecting people. But help yourself to a chair. They haven't been moved in a year or two, so you might need to dust them off a little bit.
I would pull up a chair probably and just take a seat.
Yeah, no wrong. Grab a seat too. Probably be glad to kind of be in some place that looks like a home.
Yeah, because this place is all like human construction,
Mhm.
and it's all surface woods and oaks.
So, I guess we should address the elephant in the room. Well, what the heck brings a human down here?
Only fair. I am interested in asking questions about Caliber. My assistant said that you do, but I guess that's fair. Solitude, mostly. I grew somewhat tired of having to deal with some of the responsibilities of nobility and collars up in my my homeland of. Sorry. Real life Gumbo just had a mind fart on. Oh yeah, there we go. Homeland of Blutzav. But so I paid a wizard, teleported my house down here.
And you killed that kraken?
Oh goodness, no, man, could you? No, I found it like that. Fascinating,
Collective
isn't it?
sigh of relief from everyone in the room.
Yeah.
Except for Jiggles, who has no idea what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, Jiggles just noticed everybody else had sat down, so he's sitting down too now.
How long ago did you move?
It's so hard to tell time down here.
That's better.
Yeah, it is like that.
It feels like maybe
You gonna bring a clock?
a year or so.
We've been down here almost as long. God, it's almost been a year, and Fergus just kind of looks at the table like he's about to slam his head into it, but he thinks twice about it.
Out of curiosity, do you have a way back, or do you plan on just being here for undecided amount of time?
Currently just living here full time, taking it one day at a time, so to speak. Nope. Having so long a company, I forgot I had manners. And he gets up and he goes over to there's a rope on the side of the room that if you had been like in a fancy old house, you'd pull it, and he does, and that presumably rings a bell somewhere in like the servants area to have like refreshments come or something.
And you said the kraken was dead when you got here, or?
Yes. I've been putting in some work since I found it. Quite coincidental that this is the place where I appeared, is where a dead kraken is. But I've been putting in some work to try to get some bridges. I was interested in perhaps exploring its innards from the inside. I've heard stories of kraken, but not like been in one. That would be quite something, as you can imagine.
Is this smell as pungent in here as it was when we first entered the area?
It's definitely like you can still smell it because the circulation isn't great. It's a medieval place, but it's definitely not as strong.
Okay.
Also, if you get used to decay, it doesn't smell quite as strong as when you if we leave here and come back. I imagine that we would get an all big fresh whiff again.
Yeah. Just kind of curious who's got nose blind to it.
So what exactly do you study down here? It doesn't seem like a very.
Okay. Well, final question. Then I very much am interested in hearing from you on what your company is doing down here. But it's fair. It's somewhat odd for a human aristocrat to teleport himself underground. I study a new field I call psychology, the study of the mind. Hog there is one of my earliest patients.
Hmm.
It doesn't
And
always
at this
go
point,
well in my homeland. They sometimes mistake pursuits of academia as consorting with evil. So
at this point, Freya stands up and goes, "Well, I gotta tell you, this has really put my heart at rest. Everybody, the person who lives here is just a guy."
So I guess leading into the question you were going to ask us about the wizard we met, how much do you know about him? You obviously know enough to hear his name.
Oh, only that he's just a powerful wizard who studied countless topics far beyond even a normal human's lifespan, and that he disappeared some decades ago now. Supposedly
He's
going
a
deep into the
weirdo
Underdark.
loner. Sometimes gives people free wishes. If you say
He
his
is
name,
extremely insane.
Anyways, why are we still doing here?
We're here for company.
The doors to the dining room opens, and coming in is, at first glance, you think it's like Civ Neblin, another deep gnome, but her limbs are even longer and like leaner, though she is around the same size. Her eyes are pure like milky white, and her hair, while stark white, is like fully like Albert Einstein poof. And she's wearing like a maid uniform that's definitely been like crudely sewn together to be able to more suit her size. And she's pushing a little trolley with glasses and some alcohol on it. And she goes, "Master Veilcroft wished for refreshments?" And he says, "Yes, for my guests. Here, please."
Yeah, I'll take a drink.
I'll go and do so as well.
Guess we're humoring this quack.
She starts setting out the glass goblets and pouring it. And then she sets a glass goblet down in front of. Let me roll a 1d5. Jigless. Wow, that's some luck. And she starts to like pour alcohol from like a wine bottle in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it starts overflowing and just kind of like spilling on the table.
He says, "When?"
Yeah, and Veilcroft goes, "Oh my, you might want to stand back." And then she screams off the top of her lungs, pitches the wine bottle at the floor, and then grabs the glass and shatters it and lunges at your neck with the broken shatters of it.
He's going to try and dodge it.
Well, she gets a natural 1, so how do you restrain this person?
Yeah, so he
This is why we don't have lunch at the random strangers loony bin.
classic reach out with his right hand, grab her wrist and pull her past and use her momentum to shove her past him. Why is she attacking me?
And Alexei Veilcroft's up again, and he's around the table in a moment. And he goes, don't hurt her, please. She's quite upset.
I'm going to bring out my flute and begin to use calm emotions through it.
Yeah, he picks her up and starts like with surprising strength and starts saying something in Undercommon while making eye contact with her. It's like, remember your mantras: breathe, repeat, focus. And she's like, focus. Yes, focus. Oh dear, I made quite the mess. He goes, hey, it's fine. No one's hurt. It's all good. Our young Triton friend here is quite fine, aren't you, sir? He says in Undercommon to you, Jigless.
I'm okay.
Okay. I think that's enough work for the day. Dolores, you may return to your quarters and just have a nap. She goes, yes, I am quite tired. She leaves. And he turns back to the room. I am so sorry for that. I cannot apologize enough. She's also one of my patients. She's what is known as a duro, a strange, deep underdark cousin to gnomes, and Dergar at the same time, for reasons that I am still trying to figure out. Apparently, every member of their species is quite insane.
And so you keep her in your house.
Well, I'm trying to help her. Tasks help focus the mind. I mean, would you rather her be in a padded room?
I think it's certainly noble what you're trying to do here. How many patients / housemates do you have?
Just her and Hog for the moment.
But anyways, the questions as to, it was our turn to answer questions, especially about the wizard that has gone missing for a while. Indeed, he has taken up residence in the fungal jungle, in a otherwise nondescript fungus tree.
I thought he had a tower there.
Well, yeah, but it was from the outside looked exactly like a fungus tree.
Mm-hmm.
Am I remembering that correctly? Because we only found it by following tracks and.
Yeah, it was a tower designed to look like a fungus tree.
Gotcha. Yeah, from what we understand, he was also involved with the creation of some undead beasts that we ran across.
And a staff.
Yeah, he also ripped a hole in the earth's wound, apparently.
Goodness.
Y'all speaking in Undercommon now?
I mean, Fergus would probably still be speaking in common, but...
Could Nolgrim have the helmet land on Jiglis's head and translate in real time?
Sure, it'll be big on his head, but you can do that.
Yeah. So you basically have a temporary translator on Jiglis.
It's basically doing text-to-speech translating for you.
Right.
If Jiglis had text-to-speech.
And now Jiglis is just amazed, so he's just going to sit there and be quiet.
Yeah, but from what we've interacted with him, he turned me into a frog, and then he rambled at length. He doesn't seem to be the most coherent or sane individual anymore.
Goodness, that's surprising. He wrote several tomes and treatises on the products of the mind, psionics, and how magic can interfere and affect with those.
Well, maybe they affected him a little too heavily.
If you were to cross paths with him, I recommend you really brush up on your trade because he's fairly unstable and very powerful to boot.
Yep.
You can't get him to give you wishes, though.
I'm sorry?
Don't worry about it. It probably won't matter.
But yeah, the unfortunate side is you probably won't be able to go and witness him if you don't want to risk traveling through a death trap of a maze of the Underdark. It was about, I believe, 2 levels up at this point that I can gauge, as well as beyond a path that is known for killing people, as well as up a ravine that goes up like a mile at least, and that's not to count all the drow that are patrolling in here and there.
So hopefully that drow fortress is still in the hands of the residents of the fungal jungle.
One can hope.
Yep.
You did kill everyone.
They got better.
Mm.
I'm hoping we go back there one day and it's just occupied by all the kobolds.
Right. They have taken over.
It's disheartening to hear that Caliburb is in such a condition. So, if I may ask, what brings you and your family down here? I can see the resemblance, except for your Triton friend here.
Just bringing the heir apparent back to his throne, Noble will say as he pats Fergus on the shoulder.
Hi, I'm a parent.
Well, not yet, but
Aaron.
I'm not related.
He says like a minute late.
Sorry, there's a little delay on the translation.
Trust me, Fergus. As soon as possible. As soon as possible.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord,
Yeah.
I forgot. He's coming to the realization. He's like, oh God, I have that to look forward to.
So we are heading for the
you're
fallen city of
speaking,
Dammerhall.
One of those lost dwarven cities.
Aye,
Oh, what was the name of it? I didn't. Pardon me, I didn't study your people's history that much. Ah,
that would be Dammerhall.
right. Yes. The heart of a thriving trade empire. I remember that.
It's gonna be up and coming soon enough.
That'd be quite the return. I think I have a history book about that somewhere in my library.
Ooh, I mean, we would definitely appreciate whatever information you could provide. Unfortunately, a lot of it was lost over time.
Yeah. I am interested also in the idea of exploring the Kraken, as you talked about. Would you be able to offer a reward in addition to the book, and maybe we can arrange something? We do have access to a boat and a half.
Well, you're free to peruse my library without being the trade. We're all friends here. And
Mulgrim gets a little giddy.
if you are interested in exploring the guts of the Kraken, I will redouble my efforts to get the bridges connected to its stomach up and running. It's not quite ready yet.
Mm.
But if you're
I wasn't
interested,
sure if it was something we could sail into, because we do have a boat that can be produced that's more of a rowboat that we can get closer to.
well, it's more like a benevolent dungeon master hasn't created the dungeon map yet.
Well, how
God,
dare
he's
you,
speaking
Gumbo?
madness too.
Yes. So, as you can see, this wall says incoming DLC, preventing us from going inside.
All good.
Listen, open worlds are hard.
I get it.
It's why I've kind of shied away from just the whole open world, like massive world kind of thing nowadays. I like to do it small and then branch out bigger as we go.
I have no excuse. I had the time to get it ready. I've just been mentally lazy.
I don't blame you. I've been there. But yeah, if you don't mind, we'll go ahead and take a look and see if we can find the book if you wish to impart it.
Of course. It's strange it is that it's all dark down here. I do have to go to sleep at some point, but please, I insist that you and your family at least stay the evening. I have guest rooms that have not seen use, and I dare not say how long, but surely you haven't had a chance for a comfortable night's sleep in a while. I'd be honored to have you here.
I'd be hard pressed to pass up such an opportunity of hospitality. What about the rest of you?
I probably should go back down and talk with the people on the boat and let them know, but I can't remember his name right now. I'm terrible at names, sorry.
Alexi Valecroft.
Mr. Valecroft, we do have a compatriot of ours who is probably rather hurting for interactions with other humans as of late, if you don't mind. We have a fellow by the name of Iago that probably would wish to be reminded of maybe not home, but of civilization beyond the depths. If you don't mind.
Of course. I have about half dozen guest rooms upstairs. I can't accommodate your entire crew of your ship. I'm sure you understand.
Oh, of course.
Oh, of course. Though, if you could spare a cask of one thing or another, I think it would appease them more than a guest room.
I'm loath to part with my limited supply, but it's only fair. I don't imagine I'll be having much more company. It's just a surprise as it is.
Don't want to impose. Only spare what you feel inclined to. I don't want to strain your hospitality.
Of course. I'll have Hog bring a cart around for it. In the meantime,
if you ever need supplies, we'd be happy to do a supply run for you if you have the gold.
Probably won't be the best tasting of stuff, but if you ever need restocking, there is a town nearby.
Mushrooms and
It is a
mushroom
pirate
meat.
port, but
Lots of different items wash up on shore, so sometimes there's drow wine, but you might not like the, how should I say,
company?
Atmosphere there, so we'd be happy to do it for you.
well, we can discuss that at length another time. But please allow me, before I retire for the, I guess you could call it evening, he picks up the candelabra, I can show you to the library.
Mm-hmm.
And he shows you guys across the other end of that grand hall to his library, which is not, it's not huge, but it's well appointed. It's maybe like a 15-foot by 15-foot room with bookshelves and some padded chairs. He goes, "You of course have free run. I don't have any secrets amongst these publications here."
It's been a while since I've seen such a collection. I greatly appreciate this opportunity.
Of course. I'll have Hog send the wine down to your crew below. If one of you wishes to go with him to smooth things over, and I can show you to rooms upstairs anytime you wish.
Jiggles will volunteer for the crew.
Yeah, I'll go with you as well. That way I can retrieve Iago and bring him back up to introduce him to this guy and trying to get Iago spirits probably lifted. He's probably not the happiest campers, considering he can barely talk to anybody on the boat.
We've had enough time with him. You think we'd start training him on how to?
I think we did say
he's probably
that
got like a few words down, so he's not like a completely like someone lost and scared. But if he's anything like me in real life, the gift for gab is not present. So.
He knows how to say bathroom, left, right, yes, no.
Pants.
He often sticks close to Miku just because the spores are a good like equalizer for communication.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Nilgrim is staying here in the library. Fergus and Jiggles going back down to the ship. What's Taskell and Freya wanting to do? Greek.
Guess we'll stick with Nilgrim.
Yeah, I guess I'll go down to the library.
Yeah, when I do come back up after introducing Iago, I will probably return to the library.
Library RP!
Nice.
Suddenly we go in there and there's just this lich reading at a table.
Whoops, wrong continuity, and he just vanishes.
You see him just fly off of the stalagmite, and you see this little island that's floating in the middle. I swear it's bigger on the inside.
It just full on plows through the ceiling and keeps going.
I'm sure you can teleport by now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but plowing through the ceiling is in style. So anyway, it's not like a huge like barrel. It's more like a cask, but it takes some working to get some of the wine down to the ship, down those extremely narrow, precarious stairs. You have a few close calls, but you manage it. You get back to see the crew kind of waiting around. Ignis, Hallowstone, waiting there with her arms crossed. Kind of like, well, what's the word? We killing them, or what's going on?
No, we come bearing a gift from him, and I kind of pat the cask or whatever it is.
Mhm.
We're going to be up there for the evening, possibly learning of some stuff we needed to learn to find the treasure that we originally got the ship for.
Oh, la-dee-da. Find a nice house you're gonna go sleep in it. No. Surface dwarfs.
Do you want to come?
No, I'm fine. I'll stay around the boat. Smelling dead kraken.
I figure let the crew have their fill of this wine for the night. Leave them of their duties.
Aye, that'll be good after yesterday, I suppose.
And again, I didn't think to invite you up there because it's mostly just people, a person and a bunch of books.
Mm-hmm.
Can't imagine it's your cup of tea.
Don't know what tea is, but I suppose if Jiggles is up there, then it's probably better for me down here.
Jiggles is currently right next to me.
Yep.
Well, I'll take the wine.
Ziggles.
Make sure it's distributed after I get my cut.
Go fetch Iago after giving him the alcohol and be like, so there's a human up there if you want to come up and exist in a bed that is of human make and normal comfort.
Really? And he looks up at the mansion. Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
Okay. Figured I'd
What?
offer. I figured you want some human comforts.
What
I
is a
would,
bed?
but doesn't feel right. Something's off about that house. Maybe it's just my imagination. I've been in the Underdark too long, but I don't know.
It is fair. It is a human house in the middle of the goddamn under a dark ocean.
Yeah, I appreciate the offer. I really do, but I don't know. I think I'll stick with the murderous pirates. At least I know where the knives are coming from. You be careful with yourself up there.
He's not far off. There was that insane one that tried to stab me with the glass.
I don't know what Jiggles is saying.
Oh, he's just saying there's a bunch of lovely people up there.
And then Freya runs up to him and grabs his shoulders and goes, "What are you trying to tell us, Gumbo? What are you trying to tell us?"
I turn into bubbles and fly away, cackling like an insane person.
Well, this is officially turned into a horror flick because we officially have the guy that's giving the forewarning of a haunted house.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
never tell Michael.
Let's go take our rooms.
Jiggles is the most charismatic. That means he's gonna die first. But yeah, I'll make my way back up there and return to the library with everyone else.
Fucking you hear this guy's
am
last name?
I am the only minority race in this group, so
There's still the matter of Miku and Ivy.
Well, I imagine Miku doesn't want to come up, but I would have approached Ivy probably.
He'll just follow you, and Ivy's game for anything.
No, maybe he'll be interested in meeting a fungus man.
yeah. He definitely has a different mind than we do.
Yep. So, yeah, if they want to come around, we'll bring them up, and when we return, I'll introduce Ivy and Miku to. God, I can't. I wrote it down, but I can't. I delete. I closed the document. I wrote it down.
Alexi Valecroft.
Valecroft or Balecroft?
Valecroft with a V. V-E-I-L Croft.
Okay, and then I would introduce Ivy and Miku and let them introduce each other to him. Spores happen.
By the time you get up there, Hog lets you back in, and he informs you that the master has already retired for the evening. Introductions can be on the morrow. What the fuck that means?
It means tomorrow.
Yeah, goody. Listen, could you do me a favor, dwarf?
Stop talking to you.
Drop dead. Your rooms are this way.
Fair enough.
All right. So
yeah,
is
showing the
you-
rooms, see the library.
In the night in a haunted mansion, even though I said we should leave.
So what are people doing for the evening? Going
No,
straight to bed? You gonna hang out in the library?
Nolgrim's got to hang out in the libraries.
Library RP.
Well, the
Yeah,
first things he's probably going to do is do a scan of the room using detect magic.
None of the books are magical.
And then he'll start looking for the book about Dammerhall.
I'll join him and assist. See if I can find anything.
Oh, I'm assuming he'd have a good selection on like where he planned to move. Maybe he did some research on that, so I'll see if he had anything in this area mapped out, or maybe he read up on some secret entrances to some secret dwarven hall.
Sure.
Jiggles is going to look for valuable things in drawers.
Yes, of course you are.
Look, y'all library RP. I came here to work.
And
So-
Taskell?
Suppose I'll just assist in looking through books and stuff.
Okay. So, Fergus, you said you're looking for a book on alchemy. You do actually find a book on alchemy. It's nothing like advanced or special, but if you have the book, you can double how quickly you learn alchemy tools.
Mm-hmm.
You know, assuming you pocket it.
Well, I was going to ask if I can use it today. I'll just use it and see if I can double up for today, because I'm like 6 days away.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll just probably like get distracted by that and spend the rest of my evening doing that.
Taskell and Nulgrim, you do eventually find one book on the history of dwarven holds. It's made from an exterior point of view, so it's nothing like really like in depth about history or secrets of Dammerhall, because dwarves would be pretty secretive about that, as you can imagine. But you do find something interesting, is that there apparently for about 100 years before the fall of Dammerhall, there was a ancient red dragon that was a nemesis of Dammerhall. That in this book refers to as Maladraxus the Monument Thief. Apparently a rather surly subterranean red dragon that has a habit of finding particular buildings and structures it likes and making the ground underneath them go molten to essentially steal an entire building underground to create a dragon's hoard of monuments constructed by others.
From the vision I had all those months ago, does that sound reminiscent?
You've never heard of a red dragon that blows black fire before.
That's fair.
And you do know that Dammerhall does have a history, is that the original mountain that Dammerhall now resides in was at one time the lair of a great blue dragon who was slain by the first king of Dammerhall, Durin Trinehammer.
Might need a little bit to... Oh, yeah. If I was to cross-reference the name Maladraxus with the with my Book of Grudges, would that name be in there?
Yes, actually it is. Albeit I don't have I didn't think I had to create a little thing. The body count is actually lower than you would expect. I mean, like it's high for like a dragon, but it's not like the Drow Queen or that one general that orchestrated a slaughter. Like
Yeah.
dwarves
so-
have died, and so there is a score to be settled. But
Certainly not the population of Dammerhall.
yes, judging by this history book, it sounds like Maladraxus was covetous of the treasures of Dammerhall. Ethnic-based genocide wasn't his jam.
Mm.
It was just people get in my way, so I kill them.
Mm.
You know,
Makes sense.
it's classic megalomaniac dragon stuff. Where if people just gave me what I wanted, I wouldn't have to kill so many people.
Right. Okay. But no further information as to like location or anything like that, or beyond the path that everybody knows.
Into Dammerhall? No.
Okay.
Yeah. If the secret entrance into Dammerhall was in a human history book, this quest would have been done way long ago.
Yeah, I figured, but
A little sidebar thing. I remember reading the story about this guy who was playing a D&D game, and there was a dragon that was a good aligned one, but they still wanted a horde, so they basically were a patron for a bunch of different artists. So it's basically like, oh yeah, I have all this great shit because I commissioned all these amazing artists, amazing magicians to craft this shit, all this stuff. So like when they went into his horde, like he had like living sculptures and all this other shit. It was just a funny little sidebar.
I like that. I have all of these fabulous items, but I paid for them.
In the fake campaign I'm doing for the other one, they're going to be meeting a fairy dragon soon, who's only like the size of a house cat. And he got made an archfey in the Feywild, so he has like his own little pocket dimension that he lives in. And he demands of all of his subjects to get an audience, they have to bring him a teacup. So he just has mountains and mountains of teacups and kettles that he lives on.
That's awesome.
I always liked the idea that dragons kind of operate like hermit crabs in that they don't actually build their own structures. They just, as the dragon gets larger, maybe they start off with a couple, kobold holds that they clear out or enslave the kobolds in. And then as they get older, and then eventually they get so old that they can take on dwarven armies. And then the dwarven hold is their next, their next horde location.
It is a rare dragon that wants to full on slaughter everyone within its vicinity. Because if you kill everyone, then they can't make more stuff for you to take from them. So that's some nice little information that you found there. Jigless, give me a stealth test as you're attempting to steal.
I'm gonna re-roll that one. We have re-rolls in this game?
No.
Oh, damn.
So you're rifling through some drawers.
Apparently not too quietly.
Would
Would it help if I used invisibility?
I mean, then cabinets are flying open and silverware are flying into nothingness?
Now let's keep in mind, Jigless, this doesn't mean you don't find anything.
This is true.
Yeah, you do manage to find. You sneak your way down into, because there's like 3 stories. There's the second story where it's the living area, the ground floor, and then the second story, which is underground into the stone of the pillar. That's where like the kitchen and the staff area is. So you slip down there, and you find like a wardrobe pantry filled with porcelain plates and silver forks, knives, and spoons.
Oh yeah. Not touching the plates, but how much would those forks, knives, and spoons be worth?
Considering they're human make, so they're very uncommon down here. They don't usually get this kind of stuff. I would say you could, to the right seller, probably around 200 gold pieces.
Oh yeah.
So you're shoveling those into your coat pocket. And you have a moment where it's like you get that like prehensile feeling like someone's watching you. And you turn and you see that Duro maid that tried to stab you just down the hall make direct eye contact with you. And she looks like she was walking the opposite direction, and she's got like this big burlap sack that she's got pulled over her shoulders that's kind of shifting slightly. And you have that moment where you make direct eye contact, and then she just runs the opposite direction.
Don't spill anything again.
She turns around and stabs your eyes out.
Yeah, she's behind you now. No.
See a bunch of strangely weird, like, purple text appears next to you as she teleports behind you with a knife.
You hear her say, "Wamu."
Freya, you said you were hanging out in the library, right?
Yes.
You look out the.
Okay. Yeah. What?
You're kind of like looking at a few books. None of this is like particularly riveting to you. Like, it's all academic books, but they're not like fantastical or magical. Most of your knowledge bases at this point fill in most of these gaps.
Mm-hmm.
But you glance out the window, and with your dark vision, you see out in the yard in front of the manor. You see the Dergar hog, and he's out there, and he's got like a little pouch of something, and you see him pulling out like little chunks of meat, and he throws them up into the air, and then all of a sudden these swarms of albino blind bats swoop down and start eating little bits of meat out of the air.
What? Hey guys, look at this. I say to the others in the library.
Yeah, you see that.
That's different.
Does it look like fresh meat?
Give me a perception check.
Because where the fuck are they getting fresh meat?
It is.
It was a cookbook.
Time to leave! Time to leave! There is no way they are getting fresh meat down here.
Yeah. I kind of bring that up. I'm like, where the fuck are they getting fresh meat from? They're on the top of a pillar, and they're feeding bats with it.
I imagine Fergus says that, and then we all sit there for a second in silence. And without saying anything, we all know what we each think.
Ivy says, maybe from the big kraken outside?
Wouldn't be fresh.
Yeah, that's like rotting meat.
I mean,
Yeah.
Castiel can conjure food out of thin air.
No, go look around.
He said he had to hire a wizard.
Oh no, it's Jigless meat. He's gone. Cut our losses, run.
I guess he'll be Jigless.
This is how he gets his peg leg, and now he's actually known as Jigless.
Well, they cut off his right leg, so now he's known as Jig Left.
Jig left. See what you did there? Just switch music for a moment.
I'm starting to.
Yeah, I'm going back to the ship. You guys can come with me if you want.
We may want to stick together.
Sorry, I'm back. My internet went out.
No
We're
worries.
leaving.
You weren't in the scene, so it's fine that you didn't know what's going on.
Okay, but I haven't been eating.
You
Nope.
have.
Well, yeah, you've been eating.
Your little jig bits are getting fed to albino bats.
I heard that part and the realization that it was fresh meat, and that's about when I cut out.
So let's reconvene the party and make sure we're all here and on the same page. And yeah.
Yeah, we should probably just go back to the ship.
You don't know where Jigless is.
All right, let's find the lad.
Yeah, let's go find Jigless.
Mm-hmm.
He is our pilot after all.
Jigless with coat pockets filled with silverware. Give me a perception check.
Yes.
You hear the murmuring of a tiny voice down the hall.
Does it
Going-
sound like a?
It's definitely the Duro maid.
Okay.
Going like, Stays needs to stay quiet. It's fine. The master says it will be fine. Just the rest of them need to keep quiet. That's all.
He's going to go ahead and cast invisibility
Mm-hmm.
and try to sneak down to the boat.
Give me another stealth check.
Gonna sneak down to the boat, and we're gonna be all up here looking for your ass.
God damn it, that's what I was saying, but I was muted. He's gonna fucking sneak down to the boat, and then
Give me
we're
a
gonna
stealth.
be all left not able to find who that's up
Do you get a bonus from invisibility? I don't know how that works. in 5e.
Advantage.
It's just yeah. You can go
Once
ahead
your
and
rolls
give
twice,
yourself-
take the better result.
What's his
Gotcha.
shithead bonus?
Roll again. Definitely take the
Bonus
first one.
disadvantage.
As you're slipping your way out, you see going down the hall, emerging from the darkness, is Alexi Valecroft. However, unlike before, he's not carrying a candelabra. He's just walking through the darkness of the Underdark.
Now he's carrying a machine gun.
So this human is seeing in the dark.
Yeah, he doesn't have like an eye patch or anything. Like
This
You're
dude is straight up a vampire.
he looks like he is heading towards an area that you clocked as the area where they keep the casks of wine.
Damn it, never trust a human with Croft in their name.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna make a
To,
human with the name Croft.
Now that I see
Laura
he's acting
Croft.
weird and he's not just an easy mark, I'm going to head towards the library to tell these guys we need to get the hell out of here.
Okay.
Cue the next 30 minutes of us wandering from room to room trying to find each other.
I think all of our crew is dead. He probably poisoned the Rhine.
You head back towards the stairs by the kitchen that would lead you up to the ground level. Jigless, your
Yes.
21 stealth with invisibility is still holding, so you get there just in time where you see Hog come through the door, close it, bar it, and lock it from the inside. Puts the keys in his pocket and starts trudging down the stairs.
This is the door to get out.
The door to get back up to the first floor because you're in the basement.
Oh shit! So I just got locked in the basement.
Yeah, because they don't know that you're down there. I mean,
Yeah.
one person does, but Hog and Alexi doesn't, it would seem. So they locked it from the inside, so it was like to keep people on the first and second floor out.
From getting down to the basement.
Yeah.
Oh boy! All right, I'm going to have to tell him because he has the keys.
Mhm. All right. Meanwhile, back up at the surface, you guys have looked around. The first floor has the dining room. There's a sitting room just off of there, a parlor next to the sitting room, the smoking room connected to the library. For some reason, very Victorian houses have a lot of rooms for sitting, and people complain about modern day people sitting too much. I don't know what their issue is. But you don't find Jigless anywhere on the first floor. You can check the second floor if you'd like.
God damn it, there's a very bad person in me who wants to leave him.
Does anyone have any kind of magic that they can contact him or anything?
Let me consult my book of
Wait, am I still wearing the helmet?
wonders.
I would imagine no.
No, Grim would. It
it's
would just
Milgram's
been for
from
that
Mill.
conversation. Yeah, it
Yeah,
would
it's
just been
Milgram's
for that
from Mill.
conversation. He would have taken it back.
Nope. Nothing I can do to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Are you guys going to check the second floor?
I guess we're checking the second floor.
The second floor is pretty bare bones. It's just a few rooms for guests. There is another sitting room that looks like maybe some sort of construction was happening in here recently. If you look out the window, you see there's like the beginnings of a wooden rope bridge. And you're like, oh, he was talking about setting up bridges going into the Kraken, and this is around like a level where you see there's a giant Kraken eye a ways distance, so you're like, oh, this is probably where he was setting that up to travel into the Kraken.
God damn it, Jiggles, where the fuck are you?
But the thing that you notice is, well, first off, I'll ask this question. There's the double doors that are definitively the master bedroom where Alexei retired to. Do you go in there? The doors are closed.
No.
I'm going to put on the ring of invisibility and activate it to go in because it seems like a place Jiggles would try to pilfer. We haven't known him long.
Right. Let me see if I can. I guess I'll just stand guard.
Yeah, I would tell people like keep a lookout. I'm going to try to get in there quietly and see if he's in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go invisible and try to open the door. Like quietly as much as I can. I'm not sure if this is a creaky manner, but
It's got creaky hinges, so give me a stealth at disadvantage.
Of course it does. He has Croft in his name.
Yeah, there's a light, but it's very minor because you do it very, very slowly. I've lived in a house with creaky door hinges. There is a way to.
Yeah, I know. I've had to sneak around a creaky house to not wake people up, so I get it.
Inside, you see a master bedroom. There is a 4-post bed, a side closet, a wardrobe. But the thing you noticed without needing to roll is that the bed is very much empty, and it is also made. And on top of that, the sheets and bedspread are covered in dust. No one slept here in a while.
Yep. Nope. Can I just do a general perception?
I don't know how common vampire knowledge is in this world.
Yeah, give me an investigation.
If it's just like folklore stuff.
Yeah, I was going to investigate the room anyway, so this can just be tacked on top of it.
Yeah.
Turn on my warder's intuition. It didn't show up, so it's just an extra 1d4 on top of it.
Hey, there it is.
21.
Over in the corner, there's like one of those full-length like body mirrors that's got like a blanket thrown over it.
Oh yeah, gonna go ahead and shimmy, shake.
If you lift up the blanket, the mirror underneath is completely shattered.
God damn it,
you can give me. You can give me a religion check.
Yeah.
Gumbo, you should have told us when we came in. He was talking like, "Hello, welcome to my manor. Would you like to stay
Yeah,
the
you
night?"
didn't say he had black hair with the widow's peak.
A collar that's popped like you wouldn't believe.
I have heard that there are some monsters that very much do not like their own reflection.
Yep. Nope. I'm gonna go back to the group and let them know that this guy is clearly a monster of some sort, and we need to go find Jiggles, and he is not there. So let's go down.
Meanwhile,
Hello, Jiggles.
Let's split up and find him.
ruh-roh.
Zoink, Scoob.
Nice.
Jiggles, you're still skulking around down there. The stone tunnels of the basement are still pretty echoey, and you were following Hog as he goes towards the area that you believe is like where they have the staff room. Like they have like a small like own dining area where the rooms they sleep in are just off of it. And you hear Hog speaking in hushed Undercommon. He goes, "What do you mean one of them was down here?" And he goes, I just saw the fishy looking one. He goes, "Damn it, they're not supposed to be in the servant areas. Didn't you lock the door behind you?" And he goes, "Damn it. No one can disturb the master while he's tending to the other patients. You know the rules. We're allowed up here because of good behavior. All right. You just go to your room and don't make anything worse, you waste of space. I'll deal with this." You hear the opening of like a metal hatch, and then a king, 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 and then you hear the squeaking and flapping of lots of little bat wings.
Oh no!
You know, in the
About that
Underdark,
time-
you know bats have blind
yeah,
scent to echolocation. They will find you.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop invisibility and say, "Excuse me, I am very lost. I was wandering around looking for a pencil. Could you help me get back to my friends?"
All right.
For a pencil, bro.
Let me do a quick athletics check here.
I just thought,
for
you know, where
Hog.
do you keep a pencil in the basement?
All right, give me an athletics or a acrobatics as he's tackling you.
Oh God,
Oh God.
You
You're gonna
barely
die,
managed to
Jiglet.
slip out.
didn't see that one coming.
Run!
I can't get out. All right, I guess we're gonna have combat. Look, can I do a sleight of hand to try and steal his keys?
Sure.
Since I saw where he put them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just on his belt. Yeah, that's enough. As he's trying to grab you, you reach down your hand, you pluck it off of his belt. Not like this is modern day. It's not like on a cord or anything.
I'm going to put invisibility back up and start running.
He's like, "Get back here, you fish fuck!" Grabs a meat cleaver off the wall and starts coming down the hallways. No, I knew I should have gutted you for feed the moment you showed your face around that door. Didn't have to tell the master anything.
Be as quiet as I can as I'm running away. Invisible again.
You hear him call back into the other room. "Ah, he's seen too much. Go tell the master. This is on you, though." And he's stomping down the hallway after you. Everyone else at the surface, you find the door leading down to the servants' area in the basement. It's not like it's hidden or anything. It's pretty obvious. But the door is locked.
I'm going to try to pick the lock.
All right.
Give me 1 second. My buttons would click properly. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of lag there.
No problem.
And would this be a dexterity?
Yes. Not quite managing it yet. It's going to take longer for you to get through.
I'm just going to keep working at it then.
Mm-hmm.
Room's going to be standing guard and just sweeping with the detect magic.
I forget, doesn't Detect Magic take a spell slot in this edition?
It does, but I got the
Ritual.
not the ritual. It's invocation.
Oh, the invocation.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I make it to the door super safe, right?
You certainly see the door, and you hear scraping from the other side of it.
Is that guy still behind me?
You hear footsteps going around, but you don't see him.
All right, I'm just gonna cast knock on the door, which I forgot I had, like an idiot.
Before you reach the door, you do hear a voice behind you, speaking Undercommon, of Alexei Veilcroft. He goes, "Ah, Jigless, I heard you got lost down here. Looking for a pencil, I heard?"
Yeah, just wanted to take notes. Library study time.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
God, goodbye, guys.
Okay. Nothing happens. He goes, well, I keep any graphite sticks actually in a drawer in the library.
Idiot. I should have checked that drawer.
I do apologize if Hog has caused you any distress. He tends to react violently to things. That is what I am working on.
Yeah, I'm pretty terrified right now.
I can imagine. Walks up to you, puts a hand on your shoulder. Here, if I might have those keys, I can let you out.
Yeah, that'd be great.
He takes the keys from you and he unlocks the door. And those you on the opposite side see the servant door swing open, and you see Jiggles with Alexi. He goes,
Oh,
see,
here's
your-
everybody.
your friends were worried.
They were. Alexi, thank you, sir. You're a sweetheart. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. Well, I hope you all have a good night's rest.
Yeah, I think
You
it's
as
time
well.
for us to turn in.
Well, about that, a pirate's life is the life for me, and there is no rest for the wicked. Thus, we will be leaving actually now.
Please, it's late. I insist.
Oh, we'll stay the night. Good night.
And yeah, you guys
You
also all notice that Alexi is standing here without any sort of light source, and apparently he sees you.
I'm just staying quiet, hoping he doesn't notice me because I'm invisible.
Come on, everyone. Back to the library. I know where the pencils are. Good night, Alexi.
All right. Well, got a little bit more researching to do. Not quite worn out yet, but now that we're all together, let's head back.
All right, does he go back down in the basement, lock all the doors?
He just stands there as you guys are walking off,
Oh, God. Okay, so...
giving you a little wave.
No. Lightweight. Heading to the library. I think it's very important that we all go to the library for a minute.
That's where we're headed.
Get to the library, shut the door. Okay, so something really bad's going on. He's got other patients down in some kind of dungeon below down there. We weren't supposed to see them. He's down there. He can see in the dark.
Why'd you have to tell me there are other people? Now we have to stay.
I think we need to get the hell out of here.
And they are throwing fresh meat to the bats outside.
So what
yeah,
exactly
they-
did you see? What exactly did you see?
I recount everything that I saw. That I saw.
Don't say count.
Yeah, he might be one of those legendary blood-sucking, lives in the dark humans.
Actually,
Um,
Nogum's probably gonna start flipping through his book just to see if Alexi, what was the last name? Something Croft.
Valecroft.
Valecroft is in the book. So
Oh, in the Book of Grudges? No.
yeah, okay.
he's very polite.
All right. Well, no, we can't leave just yet, Jiggles. We gotta help those people if they're still here.
No, they're all patients too, like the two crazy ones we've already met, the dwarf and the lady that tried to kill me. He's, quote, feeding them. Maybe it was feeding on them. I don't remember what I overheard. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just fully leaving that to be what your interpretation is. I'm not going to correct you.
Yeah. So I think it's more mentally insane people that are so bad off that they have to stay below in the dungeons because the two that are his servants got to come up because of, quote, good behavior.
I don't like the sound of that.
Mm.
I think our friend Mr. Alexi did kill that Kraken.
Oh God, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's very
Freya,
polite.
Yeah, no, then.
are you feeling more reassured that he's not a normal human? Because I mean, that seemed to have been your sticking point of, oh, well, what's the point of being here? So, you got your wish. Not a normal human. Yay.
Yeah. Let's go after petty victories while we're in the vampire's house.
I'll take what I could get.
Jiggles touches
He
his
invited
nods.
us inside. Jesus Christ. I mean, dwarf Christ.
Yeah, there's no sunrise to help you out on this one. It's the Underdark.
They're calling him the master.
All right, well, let's leave now.
Yeah, I think we need to make our way to the front door, and I've got a spell that can hopefully open it even without the keys.
Also, keep in mind we'll probably have to be careful of the path back out because we had to be very careful coming in. So
We have to
Let's retrace.
retrace exactly our steps.
Ivy speaks up. Well, I mean, should we do anything about what's out down below? I mean, we've tried to help out people so far. If someone's being held, shouldn't we do something?
I mean, that is our conundrum at the moment.
But
No.
at the same time, those that are currently held captive and the local residents are
Okay,
Rough
first
City
things first.
and
Before we can do
Pirate
anything,
City.
we need to get back to the ship so that I can get in my suit. I'm
You
not
don't have
going to be
anything
much
that
help
just
at
summons
all
it yet?
until then.
Also, are you going to be able to get your suit up the stairs?
That is the question.
Look, I'll figure it out.
Does it have a climb speed?
No.
Guys, what do we gain to benefit from helping a bunch of people that when we free them, if we free them, can't get off this island?
We've got the boat, but at the same time, I don't know what their mental state would be in.
Their behavior is so badly insane that they all have to stay locked up?
Or he's using them as a feeding chamber? And the ones that are out.
Hey,
I
look, he's a
suspect Jiggles,
completely nice guy.
It's full of people who stopped here like us. That's what I would guess.
Although
That's what
that
I'm
does,
guessing too. So we
Hold on.
gotta get the hell out of here.
Does that mean there might be other boats around here? What are the chances that there's a 3-bow?
Look,
Well,
I'm making
we're
my
at
way to
one,
the ship.
so.
You want to
Freya's
steal
gonna-
the
Freya's gonna start to
Vampire
make-
King's 3-bow?
Well, we
I
don't know
mean,
if he's
Freya,
king.
Freya is going to start to make her way towards the exit.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
Oh, go and follow.
Jiggles is
Yep.
going.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that looks nice, I'm stealing.
There's lots of books in that library.
Jiggles, why are you touching me? Stop it.
No, but no pirates can read.
You make your way back out to the yard. The door leading back to the stairs is locked from the inside here.
First, open the shit.
Right.
Jiggles no longer. You don't have the keys. Alexi took those, but I cut you off before you could cast knock, so you can still do that if you'd like.
When I cast this, it's going to be really loud, so we need to be double timing it. And boom.
The 3 locks go and it opens.
And it makes a loud knock audible from 300 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
That's not. No, I could have picked those.
And we're running. And we're running.
Yeah, I think we're in a full-on sprint. He pulled
Yeah,
that.
it's that those. If you guys want to run, you have to give me dexterity saving throws going down those narrow stairs.
And I'm walking fastly. And
Dexterity save.
That passes.
Let me roll for Ivy too while I'm at it.
Jiggles slips.
oh, Fork falls out.
Taskell slips. It's
Jumping
DC
fork.
15.
If you think about it, they're just taking a shortcut down to the boat.
Mhm.
Click on, click on, click on, click on, click on.
Okay, so let me look up fall damage real quick.
I'm going to go ahead and pop one of my whatever.
How do we
it's
not
called.
have feather fall yet?
Right. You mean you want to use that thing where you add your intelligence to something?
Yeah,
I'm-
where it just
yeah.
adds my intelligence to the roll. I was looking for
Alright.
the name of it. But,
Flash
yeah.
of genius.
Yeah, flash of
That
genius,
is
that's what
correct.
it was. Everyone else who falls takes a lot of scrapes going down the stairs as you fall roughly 60 feet. You take 22 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Of course, Jiggles fell.
I could have just jumped off the edge into the water.
Probably, but you didn't.
I mean, that water's got to smell horrible, though.
So Jiggles and Taskell find their way to the bottom first. Broken, and I'll probably say stunned for a round. But as you guys are coming to your senses, you feel hands on you, and you look up to see Iago standing over you. And he turns to Taskell. So we may have a small problem.
Fucking knew it!
Yeah, well, we had a big problem up there. What's going on?
The wine, right?
Well, they had a really good time with the wine. And he looks back to the ship, and you just see like the crew is absolutely just laid all over the place, clearly like completely fucked up, passed out, drunk. He goes, I don't think they expected it to be as alcoholic as it was. And there's like a kobold on the deck that's like, and then it farts.
They drank it like wine, but it was like pure liquor.
Yeah. Anyone can give me a medicine check if you'd like.
You see, they thought it was just wine, but it turns out it was Everclear.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fergus, these people have not been poisoned or drugged. It was just way more potent alcohol than they were expecting. So it just completely knocked them out.
Oh, wow, 90 proof.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, actually, if that's 90% alcohol is, I think, 180 proof. I don't know. I don't drink alcohol, so I don't actually know.
Yeah,
I know
me
there's
either.
a proof that's a percentage.
I like the idea that it said it on the label and we just didn't read it.
No, we see one X and they're like, oh, that's not so bad. We unfurl the paper that was kind of curled. Oh, that's a lot of X's.
Yeah.
It just wraps around the entire barrel.
Though, with your passive perception of 16 as you're checking on them, Fergus, you do notice that you're excluding, of course, Miku, Ivy, and everyone, that you're about 3 crew members short.
Any particular type of individual? Is it like one of the cultists, or is it just
No, all the
just
cultists are
nameless?
still accounted for. It's a Derogar, a deep orc, and a goblin.
I just turned to them and like, I think I know where they might have gotten some fresh meat. Is the I keep wanting to call her El Diablo, but the
I'm
the
sure
fire
she enjoys
sorcerer.
that name. Yeah, she's here, but she's also passed out drunk, hugging the barrel.
I think she took too much of a percentage, guys.
Yeah, I'm only catching bits of Undercommon, but I think she kept saying something about 7 shares.
Yeah, okay, so she's not waking up anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like having anything from the house, and well, they seemed like they had a good time.
Yeah, so the guy up there, probably a monster.
Oh, joy.
We're missing some crew members. He might have eaten them.
Or
And now we can't get out of here because everyone's too fucking drunk to exist.
Hmm.
So what's the play here?
I guess the question is like all the crew drunk off their ass, or is it just like
Yep.
some of them? Even the robot people?
Yep.
Well,
Motherfuckers. They weren't supposed to get any shares.
I mean, maybe they will. Maybe he really will go to sleep.
This is not gonna bode well.
All right, who can sneak back into the building to perform a rescue operation?
I think he could, like, I have a good passive perception. Would he have been able to see me when I was invisible?
Sure. Give me a retroactive perception at disadvantage.
That's fine.
Wait, I was invisible when he saw me.
Yes, that's because I forgot about that. You don't know, Fergus.
Okay. Like, I could try to go up there and sneak in, but if he's as powerful as we might think, we might need to just go in and, I don't want to say guns a-blazing, but
I
only
think,
one of us has guns, so.
I don't know. Part of me wonders, do we just wait here until the crew wakes up?
That would be my vote.
No, we need to help the crewmates that we're missing.
But if we do that, then we're leaving the rest of the crew here vulnerable.
Yeah, those three are dead.
I'm gonna say this right before I go take a bio break, but Jiggles, I'm not gonna have you roll for it. You saw that Darrow made carrying a sack that was lightly squirming. Upon reflection, that sack was vaguely goblin-sized.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well now we have to avenge our crewmate.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom, so I'll be
I'm
right
gonna
back.
get suited up. I'm gonna get suited up. You guys start figuring out how to get it up there.
That's your job. That's your suit.
This could still just be a misunderstanding.
I mean, I can make your suit fly.
I mean,
For
couldn't you
10
cast
minutes.
spider climb on it?
I have spider climb and fly.
So cast spider climb on the bitch and climb up.
All right.
Are we really gonna go fight this mythical creature?
Oh yeah, he's gonna die. This is about making a reputation on the high seas.
And plus, think about it. If he's that powerful, he probably has a bunch of shit worth stealing.
We let some vampire.
That's
roll
a good
up on
point.
us.
We should definitely.
I guess it's not stealing if it's a monster that's possessing it. Isn't it more like liberating it?
It's looting.
Looting. There we
I'm
go.
just saying, we let some vampire roll up on us, kill 3 of our crewmates, and we do nothing about it. Okay, every pirate on the sea is gonna have their way with us.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna just consider us punk ass bitches.
Yeah, so we gotta murder his ass.
Hard to argue with that logic.
So, what do we know about vampires?
I don't know.
That's
We'll
what
have
I
to
was
wait for
trying
Gombo
to
to.
get.
We'll have to wait for Gombo to come back if we can. Anyone else can roll because I already did and I don't know that much.
Yeah. What did he have you roll?
Religion.
Maybe I have some religion. Let me check.
I know none of us have a really great religion.
Religion. I have a 9 in religion.
Oh shit! I say none of us had great religion, but I keep forgetting Taskell's here
Yeah, we
because
have Tassel.
Ken has been a little quiet today. Also, I
Freya's
always keep
not
forgetting.
like a cleric class, but I made her around the idea of being raised more religious.
I also forgot that your suit has the Fergus Protection Core,
Mm-hmm.
the FPC.
Mm-hmm. The Fergus Protection Core. Yes, sir. But yeah, I'll do a religion on vampires. We're ready
All
to
right.
get started back up. Oh,
I'm here.
are we missing anyone?
3 people from the ship.
Listen here, you little shit.
All right. It's a normal roll or a disadvantage?
Just normal roll.
All right.
Not
the best.
You do know that there are intelligent, blood-sucking undead called vampires that are normally destroyed by the sun, from what you've heard.
So it would make total sense for one to come down to the Underdark to never worry about that.
Yeah, that's kind of a power move in the vampire world, you might be thinking.
This is kind of the meta, huh?
Yeah, one might call it a home field advantage.
So
It's frankly amazing how in actual canonical Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realm, how few undead there are underground. Like, you'd think this place would be just chock full of vampires and ghouls.
Then again, it's also kind of stereotypical. Oh, they're undead. They're underground now. They're buried. Oh.
He shattered his mirror. You think he's affected by mirrors at all? And I kind of pull out the bag of holding and pull out that mirror we have in there that's been there forever. It's like a huge ass mirror, but
I think it might have been more of an emotional angst situation. Otherwise, why would he still keep it around?
this is fair. I'm gonna pull out the smaller bone mirror and just keep it on me. Well, I guess he's getting loaded up in his suit and spider climbing up, I guess. While the rest of us climb the stairs.
I guess let's cast spider climb on the suit.
I mean, he's done it before when we tried to get through that lava.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you all go climb back up the stairs.
Before we go, do you think you could help me out with a quick power nap? I want to use Armor of Agathis on myself and get my spell slot back.
Oh, yeah, sure. Armor, I guess, isn't concentration, is it?
No.
Okay, because I was going to say, if I put you to sleep, you're going to lose concentration on anything.
Yeah, fortunately, that was not concentration.
I don't know if you heard, Gumbo, but I'm suiting up in my
yeah, I think
battle suit.
Anyone else need a short rest to replenish anything? Because I can use catnap and put up to 3 people asleep for 10 minutes. It'll give you a short rest.
It might also be good to is there any place to stash the rest of the crew where they're not going to just
that would require probably a lot of time. We have a decent sized amount of crew.
Okay.
Well, if no one else wants it, I'll play the flute, and then all of a sudden, me and Nolgrim lie flat on our faces unconscious for 10 minutes.
And we'll stand guard, looking out for...
I figured I'd recharge my superiority if no one else needed anything, so...
Yeah.
So what do you guys want to do in regards to cohorts for people staying to watch over the ship?
I would vote leave all the cohorts.
Yeah. I kind of just thought of a curious thing, Gone, but let me know if it'll actually work or not.
Sure.
It might be the dumbest thing ever. Catnap lets people take a short rest within 10 minutes. Could I use that on El Diablo there and see if she wakes up from basically taking an hour-long power nap? Or at least sobers up a little bit?
I don't think it speeds poison effects any.
I didn't think so. I just figured I'd ask because it'd be a funny thing to try.
Yeah.
I can use it on 3 people. I'll just feel like I can throw it on her anyway. Take a nap.
Yep. Doesn't seem to have done a whole lot, but...
I just look at Ivy like, if things get really hairy down here, slap her awake and just point her hands and yell fire at whatever's coming at you. Maybe it'll work. I don't know.
Got it. I'll keep that in mind. All right, and you're climbing back up?
Yep.
So do we want to go jet boosters or Spider climb.
I feel like Spider Climb would be the lower spell slot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. How long does fly last, though? Let me see. We're for fighting a vampire.
It's like a minute per level, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, so I'll probably want to keep that in my back pocket. It is concentration up to 10 minutes, so concentration makes it
Did
you fly, so
what's his name? Did Freya ever put that shoulder-mounted seat on her mech suit?
no, I did not.
Darn. I want to be a mini turret.
Unfortunately, I more so focused it on in the water combat.
I mean, makes sense.
All right. So you all climb back up into the mansion.
Yep, casting spider climb.
Also, holy shit, I keep forgetting we have this. We have that fucking chime of opening.
I always wonder when you guys remember that you can use that.
I very rarely get to use my thieves tools. I always like to try to use them.
Mm.
But I'll have to remember that for next time.
All
Like
right.
coming up when we try to go into the basement.
So, how quickly do we fight the undead?
Oh, you go up back to the courtyard,
Mhm.
and there's nothing there. Just how you left it.
Kick down the door.
How about we not kick things down right now? Let's wait until we need to kick them down. I'll test the door and see if it's still unlocked.
Yeah. As we get to the door, Mulgrim will tap. We'll do task on the shoulder and hit him with a protection from good, evil, and good. Because sounds like we're going up against undead.
So yeah, if it's open, I'll push it open and proceed.
You're back in the ground floor of the manor. It's all quiet. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle for Freya to get her suit through the door, but she can do it.
Yeah. Imagine no form of stealth is going to be possible with that thing, so let's just make our way to the basement, because I have a feeling that's where we're going.
Yep, the door is locked again.
You know, I know it's loud, but you can at least turn off the boombox that's shoulder mounted. I'm just saying.
Never!
It's an electric, so it plays the.
Yeah, he just pushes.
Noise.
He pushes the play button. All of a sudden, you hear Dammerhall. Fuck yeah!
We came to kick your ass.
Yes, make way to basement. If it's locked, I will actually use that chime of opening since it seems to have 10 charges. So might as well use one.
Basement door is locked again.
Ding-ding-ding-ding-ding. I can't make a chime noise.
Yep. Swings open. Go down. The basement door is unfortunately too small for the suit. Yeah, they didn't make this place mech suit size compatible.
Cool. I make it bigger.
Can you squeeze?
Just all of a sudden we go in, and all of a sudden the camera just focuses on the empty doorway, and it just whams into the door to try to force its way in. You know, you need to install some teleportation things on that thing. I mean, we've seen how well that goes with Nolgrim, so maybe that's not a good idea.
Yeah, easier said than done, Fergus.
I don't know, magic. Fuck.
Yeah, you could use some teleportation too, buddy.
Hey, I'm not the wizard here.
I'm not a wizard.
Close enough. Just hop out already if you can't get through.
Just getting some stuff ready real quick.
Ah, yes, the elusive stuff.
Yeah. Jigless is gonna strum his harp and put protection from evil on himself.
Okay, yeah. Any sort of buffing up you guys want to do, now's a good time to do it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and slap on my mage armor. That I never described how it looks because no one ever sees it because it's underneath my armor and it just basically looks like a bulletproof vest.
All right. Sorry, I'm just having to get the map ready.
You probably didn't expect us to come in and face off level boss.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll cope.
I guess we'll never go
I
crack
was
it.
gonna say, does that mean you just don't show up for 15 minutes?
Yes.
I'm gonna grab that greater healing potion that's in the bag of holding, just cause.
No, we established it's when you pee into the microphone.
Pee into the microphone. That's right. Yes, because it's Michaeling is the other way to doing it.
Michaeling is sleeping.
Mm.
I think coping should definitely be peeing into the microphone.
Oh yeah, that's what I.
Although we got a good Kenneth spray the other day.
Sorry, I am just quickly getting the combat map ready.
Oh, I'm gonna heal up. Do we have any out of combat healing?
Well, that's why I was.
can
Well, I
cast
mean, that's why I was
healing on
offering
myself,
the
but I don't know if we have an
cat
item
nap
that does it.
people.
Because remember, Taskell and I fell down the stairs, took damage.
Well, that's why I was offering the catnap thing, but nobody wanted it, and that could have given you a short rest for 10 minutes.
God, that was weird. I just lost all Skype.
We had I had Prayer of Healing, but that takes 10 minutes to cast.
I
No.
have Cure Wounds.
I can cure myself.
Okay.
This Jigless singing, when I think about me, I touch myself.
Man, my internet is going wacko.
Why does no one ever make their doors mech side?
First rule when I get to Dammerhall, make it all next size compatible.
All mech accessible.
I mean, that's why I was fine with him going the colossal thing for his snake and rune lords. There's going to be some shit that even shrinking down is no longer going to fit. And I'm okay with this.
Think. That's what you think.
Listen, you can't always put your snake in the pool and expect it to shrink down several sizes.
It's freezing cold.
It's just physics.
I'm sorry for the hold up here, guys. I should have
Actually, my snake grows in the water. Likes being free. It's like those little bathtub toys, little foam things that it's a little bitty pill and you throw it in the bathtub and it turns into this giant foam thing.
New plan. Whenever you cast enlarge on your snake, you just look at him and be like, do you want to come up to the front of the classroom?
I'm going to need you to go write that on the chalkboard.
Yep.
I have not yet, but I do at some point when the snake is huge, want to cast animal growth to get him to gargantuan just because, come on, who doesn't want to have a huge giant beast on the map?
God, go put that away. Man, we are just children.
Yeah, but we're having a good time, and that's what's important.
Note to self, never have a snake animal companion again.
I mean, you say this, but you had a fucking sex-craved tiefling named America backwards.
Mhm.
So this is just shtick at this point.
She was wonderful. It wasn't America. It was American.
Oh wow, big difference.
I mean, you should have said America backwards, then it could have been Asarima.
Wow.
Yeah, you missed the boat on that
Wow, I
one.
really missed the mark on that one.
You only had a few years to figure that out.
Asarima. God, I mean that's just too on the nose though. Stick with Nasarima.
Plus, the
I'm sorry, did everyone just know that Nazarima was American spelled backwards and I didn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did we have this conversation?
I've told y'all at some point, like at least
I think I
halfway
missed
through the
that
game.
day.
I kind of picked it up after like a couple sessions, like a couple like months actually, because I missed a bunch of sessions. But then I started looking at it, and I'm like, "What the fuck? Why does this name seem so familiar?" And then I looked at it and like, "Oh shit, this motherfucker."
American spelled backwards.
Just cue the gif of that guy being like to his head as Michael just comes to this realization.
Michael, did you just look at Jigless and try to read it backwards?
I think you were also the one to point out
No.
that Delve was Vlad backwards.
Who was Delve?
Delve, Sepet,
Delve?
Vlad Tepes.
Yeah, I know who Vlad Tepes is.
Yeah.
I forgot which campaign that character was.
Oh, that was the 40K or the 40K where we were investigators with the
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you used a picture of Alucard.
Yep.
Man, you guys just cannot make a 40K character that isn't based after someone pre-existing.
Nope.
I mean, I don't. I fucking made a Warhammer 40K like autistic motherfucker who just was obsessed with light bulbs.
Although I don't think Kincaid was.
No,
beyond...
I'm just joking because Rick rhymes over
Yeah.
here.
Right.
Listen, you can say a lot about Griggs. That was an original character.
That is
All
true,
my own creation.
and he is persisting.
I had a light bulb fetishist and then a coward.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So, pardon for the hold up there. So you
Okay,
guys,
so we were about to fight the Space Marine.
yes. So you guys descend into the basement to find it very, very quiet. You guys can give me a perception.
I'll throw a D8 on that. 18.
I've got to refresh. My roll 20's not working.
Am I gonna bother? Might as well. Perception.
Where
Okay.
in the world is this fucking vampire?
Fergus and Taskell, you hear the murmuring of a shrill little voice of the Darrow maid. You can't quite make out the words. Oh, and Jigless too, but you can track it back to its source.
Head that way, I guess, because it's not like we have a destination down here.
Just so we're all on the same board, are we just killing everything?
Are they able to point it out so that others can hear it, or?
Yeah, you guys can just follow.
Yeah, I would
Alright.
motion with my fingers that
Can I,
And-
if I were to listen, about how far away does this sound?
Just down the hallway, essentially.
Okay. Let's continue on.
When we get to wherever the sound's coming from, I'll poke my head around to see if I can catch sight of something without letting them know that I'm there.
Yeah, give me a stealth check real quick.
And we have established that the mech suit is not down here, correct?
Yes.
It is gone.
Womp womp.
You see the Darrow back against a door, knees to chest, rocking back and forth, saying, I'm good. Master says I'm good. I did nothing wrong. It's fine. The Master's not upset. I'm good. Remember mantras. Repeat chants. Don't go stabby.
I really want to kill that bitch.
And she says she has it back to a door.
Mm-hmm.
And is this like at the end of the hallway, or is it just in a room?
It's at the end of a hallway.
I would look over at people like, there's a door behind the crazy lady. I'd like to try to get by her without having to fight her, but I have a feeling that's gonna not go so well. So,
Did you
We'll
have
see.
an ability to potentially put her to sleep?
I did, but I used the ability I had to give you a nap.
Okay. Well, I think it was still well spent in that.
I will go ahead and step out from around the corner.
She sees you and goes completely still and frozen, staring directly at you. You shouldn't be down here. You're not supposed to be down here. No one's supposed to be down here. You're supposed to be asleep. You're supposed to be asleep upstairs. Nice and safe. Nice and pretty. Yes.
I'm sorry to say that we're looking for some folks that were taken from our boat. You, I assume, have some knowledge about what happened there, didn't you?
No.
Sense motive.
I'm not even going to roll. I'm pretty sure I don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we could look at this wall here real quick, and you could go back down the hallway and pretend you didn't see us, and you won't get in trouble if something happens. I don't want to hurt you. You don't want to hurt me. I'm sure you don't.
Remember your mantras.
She charges straight at you.
I was going
Yep.
to say that's not true. All they want to do is hurt you.
Oh, I'm sure they do, but I was trying my best there.
What you gonna do? She's coming right at you.
Can
Give me 1 second.
can Nolgrim interpose, stand in front of Fergus?
Whoa!
I was looking at
something else came out there.
I was looking at Freya, then transition Fergus on the main list there. I'm like, Fred, no, it's the wrong one.
I just wanted to.
Got a fiance.
I was gonna pull out my weave cloak and turn it into a net and try to throw it over her.
Sure. Give me an attack roll as if it was the net weapon.
I will just click a button because they're all pretty much the same roll.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that most definitely hits. So she is restrained.
If I hit her with another net, would she be?
I don't
There's
think
no-
that's
There's no double restraint, but you would have advantage.
Pile all the
if you wanted
blankets on.
to punch her in the face or something.
Super restrained God 2.
Isn't there a pinned?
No. There's unconscious. Restrained
Okay.
is technically the equivalent of pinned, but the net explicitly says they can do a save to get out of it.
Gotcha.
But then, if I can, after I throw the net, I'm going to try to rush her and try to cover her mouth so she doesn't scream. If she bites me, she bites me, but I'm trying to not be too...
She does bite, but it doesn't do damage, but someone else can act since we're like in pseudo combat.
Yeah, Nolgrim will try to help, like, tie her up and restrain her proper.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't contract any strange diseases from the bite.
Not yet.
He doesn't start turning into a walker. Making sure.
Yep. So you restrain her up, and you're able to gag her.
All right, continue on.
Just kind of push her to the side of the room or something and
Mm-hmm.
continue on.
Throw her in a broom closet.
She'd be like, sorry about this. You seem well, nice is stretch, but we'll be out of here shortly, and
We're
we'll
just
make
here
our
for
way to
our
the door.
friends.
Again, friends is a stretchy word there, but through the door to the north.
It opens up into a area where there's multiple casks of wine. And one of those, those like large floor to ceiling barrels that are on their side for like beer or whatever.
Yep.
But other than that, it's a dead end.
Time to roll some investigation to see for hidden doors. Because that's my first thought as soon as I step in here.
Yep.
Womp,
Same here.
womp.
Nulgrim. Looking around, you see there is a scuffed boot print in the dust on the floor in front of one of these large floor-to-ceiling casks that kind of looks like the same size of foot that Hog would have. And you can just, with that 26, you can just faintly hear from inside the barrel muffled voices that you haven't heard before, very distantly saying, please let us out, just let us go.
Nolgrim will wave at the others to get their attention and point to his ear, then point towards the keg.
Is there any, I just motioned, is there any way to fucking open this?
I don't know if it's the best idea. We don't know what's on the inside, if it will attack us or not.
I'm just going to start,
Alright,
tucking on the spigot or something.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
Clay's
if you
gonna-
turn the spigot, there's a click of a lock undoing, and the front of it starts swinging open like a door.
Can Nolgrim, interpose his, put his foot to kind of brace it so it doesn't open all the way, just enough so it cracks open and we can peer inside, or is it
Sure.
forcibly? Okay, so he's going to do that, and
You look down, and there's no wood on the inside. It's stone, and there's stairs leading deeper down.
are the voices more clear?
Yeah, it's still muffled and a little bit
Okay.
echoey, but yeah, it's definitely coming from down there.
Under
And they are
common, I assume?
speaking Undercommon and a couple in Elvish.
Puts the lotion on its skin.
Nolgrim will nod and ease the door open.
All right. You begin progressing down, and I will move you to this map that I hastily constructed.
Oh, yeah.
MS Paint map, let's go.
Close, yeah.
Can't have my fucking necks.
I'll just bring up the initiative tracker here.
You think there's gonna be
By
a
the way,
fight?
keep in mind, everyone should have, what is it, level plus charisma bonus of mine, so we're level 9, right?
Yeah.
12 temporary hit points,
Nice.
because I have that inspiring leadership thing.
Mm.
How are y'all getting your initiative on the tracker?
You have to
You
click
click your token, and then you have to roll initiative.
Where are our tokens?
Do you not have vision on your character?
I do not.
Why is Roll20 keep breaking like this? Hold on, give me a second.
Ever since they started doing some tweaks on the dynamic lighting, everything's been getting fucky.
Yeah, hold on.
I can't see anybody.
It
I
says
see
you
the
have
map.
it says you have vision.
Try moving his token below me or something, or swap with me.
Can you see now?
Here's what I can see: is I can see this whole hallway, and then a little bit that
That's
way.
all you should see.
Yeah.
But
so
I see no tokens. I don't see any of y'all.
Oh, do you not
Here,
have
I'll-
dark vision?
I'll refresh.
you should have dark vision. I checked his token. Night vision, 60 feet.
Huh.
It's controlled by Jiggless's player, so it should be Cope.
It also might be his internet.
Mm-hmm.
So I reloaded. I've got my page open. My internet has been bad tonight, so it very well could be my internet. Y'all move along. I'll play by theater of the mind.
Okay, well,
If you can add my initiative was an 8.
an 8, got it.
I remember I had to fix this by deleting his token in last week, if you remember, and then adding a new token and giving him vision on that one. For some reason.
Right. That's right.
I had to do the exact same thing.
Wasn't Cope having problems last week too?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was just my dark vision. Like I could see all the tokens in the map and everything normally, but this week is just an empty map.
All right. I'll look into that later, maybe.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It might be my internet. It's gone out like 4 times tonight.
So this entire hallway is cold stone carved into the rock, and now this hallway is echoing with the voices of people calling out in Undercommon and Elvish, begging to be let go and to return to where they want to be.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I believe Taskell goes first.
yeah.
Oh, no, I see everything.
It's a corner that you turn around. Let me see. Yeah.
Goes like that.
Mm-hmm. So looking down this hallway, you can kind of see the purple lines I put there, Taskell. Those are thick metal doors that you occasionally hear banging on a couple and people inside saying, "Please let us out." He does things to us.
Raunchy things.
Yeah, I'm gonna just take the dodge action because who knows when something will come around a corner, like the one I'm standing next to.
He transmuted taste buds onto my butthole.
Fergus.
Don't like the sound of that taste bud butthole thing, but
And we call that a butt blowjob.
Going down here. I assume these are like cells here and here.
Yep.
And this just looks like another hallway going down.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see how much space I moved. I was here, so 15.
Oh, hold on. I just realized I may have made a mistake on the lighting layer real quick. Did I? Yes, I forgot to set it to update on token drop. Don't mind that.
I haven't seen anything but the hallway anyway.
Yeah,
so.
I just realized, so.
10 more feet down this way.
Mm-hmm.
What, you mean you don't want us waving the tokens around and seeing the entire map?
I would.
I'll bonus action dash to here and then take the dodge action.
Okay. There is another sealed door right there on your right.
Gotcha. That'll be all I can do.
Jigless. Oh, now you can see
walking down. Yeah, I'm back in the game. 20, 25, 30 foot. What do you say?
Ah! No, let's see.
Sorry.
I see a door.
Yeah. And you're all just hearing the banging coming from those cells over there, like bloody murder.
Take
not
the dodge action. Do we recognize the voice of our crew?
You do not recognize any of these voices, but it's kind of echoing cacophonous, so you don't know.
Plus, who really talks to the little people?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Ask them if they know where they went.
Emmanuel.
Ask them if they know where the vampire is. The Count
Freya?
Croftington.
Your turn.
All right.
Laura Croftington.
Yeah. Looking for Laura Croftington. Okay. Oh. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. Go ahead and move my token back.
Yeah.
There's a weird Roll20 thing happening where when I move my token, it's also moving the screen.
Oh, I see. Because I could
I'm
have
try to
sworn
reload.
I set it up so that way tokens couldn't travel through the walls.
Again, it's been a little fucky lately.
Yeah. Let's see. Explorer mode, daylight mode, update on token drop.
You have to go to the front page of it, I think, and I don't think it's on the dynamic lighting menu. It's on the main menu of that.
Yeah, size, background, scale, grid. Oh, here we go. Geez. Why would they separate those two? There we go.
I know.
That should take care of now.
If it wasn't for the connection issues of setting up Foundry and
Mm.
having a server thing without having to do a weird hosting thing, I'd probably switch to that.
Mm.
But that's
Where
just
are
a
the
lot of extra
people's-
effort.
Where are the people's voices coming from?
Let me get the ruler. Down this direction.
All right.
Yeah, so you're right in front of one of the doors right now.
He said the purple lines are metal doors.
Oh, what was this guy's name again? The vampire?
Alexei Vailcroft.
Yeah. I'll ask them if they what Croft? Vailcroft?
Vailcroft.
I'll ask them if they know where Vailcroft is.
Yes, I do. Oh, praise the gods. Yes, just let me out. I can tell you where he is. Please, just let me out.
I don't have a way to let you out until I find him.
If you look down, it's just a metal bar over the door.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those like prison doors where you can lift it up and slide it aside and swing the door open.
Freya stands by her
Don't let him
comment.
go.
Thoughts? Should I let him out?
I wouldn't yet. We don't fully know what's going on here.
Not until we've killed the beast.
Please,
Fine,
I've been down here so long.
You'll be safer here while we go and defeat him. It wouldn't be worth letting you out if you just ended up dying in the process anyways. There's nowhere to go, but we'll be able to get you out of here.
I know where his coffin is. Please, let me out.
One of them says he knows where the coffin is. Tell us if I let him out.
Sense
Just
motive.
open the door.
I'll give a quick sense motive.
Mhm.
See what Freya can see with a. Where is it? Or it's an insight now. not
Yeah,
sense
insight.
motive.
Same concept. They're telling the truth.
15.
They know where the coffin is.
All right, I slide the metal bar open and I let him out.
All right. Let me adjust the dynamic lighting layer real quick.
You didn't tell me they looked like that.
You didn't. You can see inside the door. So yeah, you see a kind of gaunt and emaciated drow woman in the tattered remains of a straitjacket, and she lunges directly at you. I will roll initiative for vampire spawn.
God damn it! It's a normal drow.
But this was still a prepared action, so even though their initiative is on 10.
Michael, don't make me laugh. I can't laugh right now, or else I'll cough and die.
Oh god, it got really high.
So first off, claws. 15.
15 will not hit.
Okay.
Can she
and then-
use her claws if she's in a straitjacket?
I said tattered remains of a straitjacket. 17.
Also, you don't have
17
to have
does hit.
claws on your hands. You have toes.
So sorry, did the 17 hit?
17 does hit.
All right. That's 8 slashing damage, and you are grappled.
So let me change my.
Gumbo, your description says instead of damage, she can grapple.
Oh, right. So then, yeah, it would just be grapple then. My apologies.
All right. So then Freya is grappled. You lying son of a bitch!
You then hear shuffling from down the hall. You hear grumbling. Dwarven. Nope, his initiative is crazy low. So, Nulgrim.
Alright. 5, 10.
Although like, technically, the low initiative is probably best for him because he goes right after Nulgrim.
See if I could. Alright. Is it possible for me to use my action to close the door and bolt it?
I mean, if you want to shove Freya in there, sure.
Freya's
Grappled.
Oh, she's grappled. Okay.
Yeah.
Crap. And pushing, using my Eldritch Blast to push her back.
It would
As
push
previously
them
shown,
together.
it brought her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can handle one measly little drow.
Is there anything I could do to help break the grapple, at least?
You can perform the help action to give her advantage on her turn.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay. You hear a chair sliding and scattering across the stone. As you hear footsteps, and around the corner here is Hog, and he sees you guys. He goes, the master was very kind to let you stay here and forgive your trespassing. But fine, if you want to play with the less gentle patience. And he's going to come over here and he's going to undo the bar on this door. And he goes,
We're trying to put her back.
Then you can feed them. And let's see, let me calculate out his movement here, because he gets 2 item interactions, and he's got 25. Okay, so yeah, he could... Yep. Okay, so then he's going to undo this other one next to him. And then he still has enough movement to get back here. Taskell.
Guess I'll try and move through and
Taskill him.
Swing with the axe at that one.
That will hit. So, Ammon. Your axe bites deep into her arm, but despite that, it seems the physical damage doesn't bother her as much as you'd imagine. Almost like she doesn't have any vital areas.
Yeah, and then bonus action that up.
Oh yeah, that'll hit him. Takes on the chin. Fergus.
I'm going to move to here. Bonus action dash. Oh my.
This room is full of tables that have dead bodies with sheets over them, like a morgue. I couldn't find a good mortuary table, so I just used dead bodies.
And let me see how much movement that was. Because this looks like just a closed off room, right?
Yeah.
Move to here. Action to dash to here. Just call back a Jigglis. Not down that way, please. Lots of bodies.
That's not what I wanted to hear. Dead, I assume?
That's why I called them bodies.
Yeah. I was afraid of that.
Hoping to find a way around, but it doesn't look like it. So go help the people screaming over there.
Will.
right. Vampire spawn time. So first things first. This one is going to come out and go at Taskell. This one here is actually, the ceiling here is like an arch that's 10 feet tall, so it crawls out of the door and then it crawls up onto the ceiling like a creepy ass bug. And it is going to dash to be over here on the ceiling. And this one will do likewise, also on the ceiling.
Don't
so
forget protection from evil on Taskell and Jigless gives disadvantage.
Right. The one next to Nilgrim is still on the ceiling and had to dash, so it can't attack. So we'll get some disadvantage attacks on Taskell. So first up, a claw. That's a natural 1. Its second claw. 16 will miss. Next on Freya. First will be a claw that it's holding onto you. It'll try to rake you with its claw. Natural 20. It'll actually do the damage this time because Ori is grappled.
Yep.
And then it is going to try to sink its fangs into your jugular, which will thankfully miss.
Yes. So it's 9 plus 3, the total damage.
Yeah. Jigless.
All right. Jigless is going to not get anywhere near these motherfuckers. Well, he's kind of blocked down here, so he's going to cast.
It is worth
remind me
pointing
of
out
the-
this one with the blue dot is on the ceiling, so you could move
Yeah.
underneath it.
Okay, remind me of the cantrip casting rules. Can you cast a cantrip and a normal spell?
So long as one of them is a bonus action.
All right, he's gonna. All right, I'm just press this for y'all to help me. If you use Hex, it does 1d6 extra necrotic damage whenever you hit with an attack. Does that include spells?
Yes. Not
Alright,
the spell that you use the hex for, but like any future ones, yes.
I'm pretty sure
Okay.
undead are immune to necrotic damage.
I was about to ask, would he know? I don't know in 5e how it works. Does
it's-
necrotic heal him?
It's not like, I'm gonna tell you this out of character. It's not like negative or positive energy. That's not really like a thing. But
Okay.
you do not know if they are immune or resistant to necrotic because skeletons aren't. So
He's gonna put a hex on her and then cast Chill Touch at her.
okay, chill touch will miss.
And then he still has move, right?
Yep.
All right, he's gonna step down, see what Fergus is seeing. Okay.
Mhm.
And if I do like that, can I take cover?
I mean, yeah,
he's
you're
just gonna,
around
he's
the
gonna
corner.
step down there. Okay.
Yep.
They let him go. This is not looking good.
Focus on the drow at our flanks, Nolgrim.
And so just so you know, this door here is not metal like those other ones.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So while I'm grappled, can I attack? Do I have to try to get out of the grapple?
You can try to
might
break
be it.
free, and you have advantage on that since I.
Yes. That is an acrobatics or a athletics test. While you are grappled, your speed is 0, and that's pretty much it.
All right. And to roll to the acrobatics, what kind of action is that?
That is your action for the turn to escape the grapple.
Nolgrim, I'd hate to waste your turn, but
Well, if you break free, could you use your move to, or your Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm surrounded.
Close
on
the door
both
and
sides.
bar
Even
it?
if I,
Because it's not an
I mean,
action to
yeah.
use an item.
yeah, I guess you're right. I can try to close the door.
Yeah.
I was just trying to run it through because I didn't want Nolan's
Yeah.
action to just mean nothing.
Mm-hmm. So I will roll its athletics. It maintains the grapple.
Well, I thought it was a DC 13.
It's opposed. Oh yes,
Okay.
DC 13. I'm sorry, I
But
forgot.
either way, I
Yeah.
still missed
Well,
it.
either way, it
Still.
fails.
Fortunately, you
I'm
can't
used to
help
being on the
that.
other side of this with Thrum.
Right.
All right.
Well, I tried.
And so that's just my turn then, right?
Yep. Unless there's a bonus action thing you want to do.
Bonus action? I don't think so.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. On the vampire spawn's turn, this one in front of you, Freya, the axe wound and the burns that Task will put in it heal up completely.
All right.
To our
my
flank, Nolgrim. To our flank. I can take care of this one.
turn. Very well. And you're referring to this one, right? The one.
On the ceiling.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My turn. As a bonus action, I'm going to use Spirit Shroud.
Mhm.
Basically, a series of spectral dwarven spirits surround me, and let's see. All the baddies within 10 feet of me, their speed is reduced by 10, and my attacks deal 1d8 extra radiant damage.
Okay.
And if, let's see, any creature that takes this damage can't regain hit points until the start of your next turn.
All right.
So I'll do
And
that.
and that's a spell or an ability.
That's a spell.
Gotcha.
Let me see. It's higher, so it's 2d8 extra damage.
Okay.
Then I'll swing at this one with my hammer.
The one on the ceiling.
Yeah.
That's 8 feet off the ground.
Oh, okay. Then I'll hit it with an Eldritch Blast.
Okay. Just.
I'm not complaining.
Yep.
Okay. First blast.
That'll hit.
Second blast. I'll miss. And then 2d extra radiant. Or 8 extra damage.
All right.
And shove her back 10 feet. Or basically, shove her in that corner there. And then I will move up. Isn't this where the rest of the party went? Or did they round the corner? Okay. Well, I guess I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you would know. Though I
okay.
do say, as you blast this vampire spawn back and it collides back to the wall, you see on the back of his head, because this one's male, I just have the one token image, that the back of his skull is missing.
Oh.
And there's no brain in there.
Interesting approach to psychology.
God, we're gonna have to fight a Frankenstein monster. I just know it. I know you, Gombo.
And then I will shift back. And
Don't
that'll
think
be
I
my
can't
so
yell at
small.
you.
Okay,
I
cool.
can't yell at
AOL.
you because my voice is cracking.
Wait,
But
did this one fall on the ground?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's prone. You pushed it back.
Oh,
and
I
it
didn't.
landed.
Sorry, I missed it. I thought it was
Yep.
still clutched into the ceiling. I would have stepped closer to it if I realized it was. Damn.
We're gonna have to fight a Frankenstein, a Wolfman.
It misses
We're gonna
anyway.
have to fight a creature from the Black Lagoon.
No, that's my Halloween one shot, guys. Except you don't fight them; you get to play as them. That's genuinely an idea I was working on.
I
'Cause I
am
wa-
the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, it's you're not just playing as like horror movie monsters. It's literally you play as Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the Mummy, the creature from the Black Lagoon. Because I was watching a movie called Monster Squad, and that gave me really good ideas. So
Since it's on the ground and already provoking attacks, you'll just move up and crowd it.
All right.
That'll be my turn.
all right.
I could see a good one with cryptids, where one of you plays as Bigfoot, one of you plays as Mothman, one of you plays as the Chupacabra.
All right. Hog here is going to turn invisible. Because Duergar can do that.
Mm.
And he's going to move around the corner here and do a stealth check. Alrighty then. So, yeah. Taskell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I'll bonus action the hammer back to hit them. Keep losing it in this list. There it is.
Oh yeah, that'll most definitely hit. All 12 force damage there.
Yep. And then I'll go ahead and cast Spirit Guardians. So when their turn comes around, that's probably a. Oh, wait. No, that was my standard. So, yeah, no.
All right. Fergus.
Okay, I am going to. I can move past Jigglypuff.
Yep.
So that I think was 20, 25. Bonus action 15. I'm sure she'll get cover, but could I stab at this one?
Sure.
Like from around the corner?
Uh-huh.
Stab shroom.
Yeah, that'll still hit.
And I'm not sure if they're immune to poison or not, but
Uh,
a lot of undead are, so it is separate rolled, so.
weirdly enough, no. That's bizarre. But either way,
I'm thinking psychic damage isn't gonna do much, though. I feel like you need a brain.
mm-hmm.
And is she still up?
Yep.
Gonna stab at it with the stab shroom again.
Yeah, vampire spawn are not flimsy. That'll hit.
For 9 points of damage. And this is a magical weapon. I'm not sure if it matters. I heard something about not like as much damage from something.
Oh, from non-magical attacks. Yeah, okay, so yeah, that I'll let me add some damage back then.
I was assuming because most creatures say from non-magical.
Yeah, I always forget that. I always think like, oh,
it's okay. Just get the new book and they've neutered it even more.
Yes, because we are now a featureless blob who performs basic attack against other featureless blob.
Mm-hmm. They've removed so much flavor from all the different creatures.
I know. Well,
but anyway, still... that is my turn. However,
these are still OG vampire spawns. So, so they need to do wisdom saving throws, correct?
For
spiritual weapon, the spiritual guardians.
Spirit guardians. I can just look. It is wisdom save.
Okay.
Who has Spirit Guardians up?
That's Taskell.
Oh, Taskell.
What's the DC, Kenneth?
17 now.
All right, so fail. So they all take 12. Not the ones on the other side of the door, because we established that, as that's not how that works. Otherwise, you would just clear out entire dungeons. So they definitely don't like that. However, this one that's still grappling Freya is going to try to bite. Oh, that one will hit. All right, so that's 5 piercing, 7 necrotic. It regains 7 hit points, and your maximum hit points are reduced by 7 temporarily as well, as it bites into your neck and drains blood from you.
All right. Luckily, I think that should just dig into some of the temporary hit points, right?
Yeah, then you're still good. But it is still going to claw you as well, which will miss. And now this one next to Taskell is going to disadvantage claw. Nope. And this one on the ceiling right here is going to get overhead. And it is also going to try to claw Taskell. Nope. Still missing. This one by Nulgrim is going to try to claw him. Claw. Nope. All bad rolls.
Dismiss.
Jigless.
Jigless, jig more.
How many temporary hit points did we get?
12.
You should have 12, yeah.
All right.
Every time we take a short rest or a long rest, I can give everybody 12 temporary hit points to their... If you already have somebody, it just takes whatever the higher one is. But...
All right. 25, 30. I couldn't move through any further, so I'm just going to give a bardic inspiration to Nulgrim. Thank you. So you can add a 1d6. Should close.
D8 right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
At 10th level, it becomes D10, so yeah, it's a D8.
Mm-hmm. D8 at
5th. I really don't know if I can do anything else. I don't want to turn y'all into a T-Rex where you can't.
You can always just take the dodge action, so if something comes up from behind you, it has disadvantage.
Good idea. He'll do that.
Yes, I don't think it would be a good idea to turn anyone into a T-Rex in these hallways.
Just fill the entire hallway.
That's why you turn them into a velociraptor.
All right. So I am just going to combat this drow. This drow vampire. I mean, they're bad because they're a vampire too, but mostly because they're drow. All right, two-handed axe.
There was a really old video that was making jokes with the concept of Nazi zombies. That misses. Because they're like, well, they're just zombies, though, right? Because Nazism is a political philosophy. That doesn't necessarily mean they're Nazis. And they're like, oh, look, here comes a zombie dressed as a Jewish person. The Nazi zombie just start kicking the shit out of it. Okay, now they're Nazis.
All right, well, that's all I can do because I'm not in the suit.
Mm-hmm. Elgrim.
What does combat advice do? Give me advantage?
No, it's product inspiration. You can, after you roll, you can choose to roll a d8 and add it to the result.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Think of it how I use my
Basically-
superiority dice.
Gotcha.
But it's only one.
We need to like mix another system in here at some point because all the wires are starting to get crossed.
Yeah, right.
It's getting really fucky in my head.
Yeah.
All right. Nulgrim's going to fire Eldritch Blast on these two, one on each, to try to give Taskell some breathing room.
Gotcha. What will hit?
Actually, yeah, we'll stick with it.
And the other one will hit as well.
Yeah. Yeah, show him back both 10 feet.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that'll be my turn.
Titan Taskell.
Yep. Yeah, with that freed up and spell going, I guess I'll swing on the one grappling Freya. Who's been beaten.
That'll hit. And your weapon is not magical, correct?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay.
Just have the hammer swing at the one it's on top of.
Yep. That'll just hit.
Mm-hmm. Still holding my ground.
Mm-hmm. Fergus.
I'm gonna just keep swinging from the corner because I can still see that one up. Gonna roll at advantage because I have to roll twice anyway.
They'll both hit.
Okay, so first one is 14 points of damage.
Okay.
Second one is 8 points of damage.
Okay.
And then I will bonus action stab again with just my mithril dagger.
All right. Which is non-magical.
It is
hit.
non-magical. For 5.
Okay. Also, I realized that I forgot to include the cover bonus, so the 15 one, which was the smaller
Second
two
one.
attacks.
Yeah.
Second one would not have hit, but the 20 will. So I'll just quickly calculate that math back. So that was 8 points of damage back. Okay.
4, 5, 6. Quick math.
Yeah. All right, so vampire spawn turn. This one is going to disengage and run up the stairs. This one will disengage or not disengage, but it'll run around the corner here. This one is going to spend 5 feet of movement to scurry up onto the ceiling, and then it'll try to dash and get about there.
Keep in mind, I think their movement is reduced by the Spirit Guardians.
You're right. So it's only about here on the ceiling. Oh, right, because I forgot the 2 of them did start there, so I'll quickly do that for them.
And the one that was here is also slowed by 10 feet.
Okay, well. So that fails, so... why was that one next to you slowed by 10 feet?
Spirit Shroud.
Okay, so... Yep, it'd still be up the stairs and off the map.
Yeah.
Or no, it wouldn't. Sorry, it would be there. At the stairs, but the one that's holding on to Freya will continue trying. As these things have decided to escape the asylum. So first up, bite on Freya. And then claw. The claw will miss, but I'm pretty sure the bite hits.
Yes, the bite did hit.
Yep, so go ahead and calculate that, as it is now Jiglis's turn.
So it looks like all the bad guys are running away. He will take the dodge action and be very quiet.
Okay. Freya.
I'm gonna hit you, you son of a bitch.
Also, they're going to be very disappointed because I'm pretty sure the door is blocked by a massive golem suit.
All right, I am going to, as a bonus action, cast branding, or you just cast, branding smite. And then do my normal attack with the axe. $13.
That'll miss.
Come on. Doesn't let me wear the suit. Don't know why. Doesn't let me wear the suit.
I mean, you wore for that entire fight against the Namer, and you devastated everything. All right, Nolgrim.
Shift over and fire a pair of Eldritch Blasts at her, using Grasp of Hadar to pull her closer to me, 10 feet each time it hits.
Mhm.
No, I don't think you're supposed to go. First hit. Do I still have...
That'll hit.
Yeah. Do I still have the...
It lasts for a
Inspiration.
minute.
Okay.
You can choose to use it whenever you wish for an attack roll.
That'll hit.
Oh, you
Or save.
would both hit?
Yep.
Okay.
Those
So,
pulls you 10 feet closer, you said?
yeah.
Each
So
one?
20
Okay.
total.
Yep. And let's see. So that second one would have put it within the... So where was it here?
Yeah.
5, 10. Okay, so yeah, no, it wouldn't have been hit by the radiant extra damage yet. So, okay, that's his turn.
All right. Jigless, you start hearing a door handle rattling behind you. But it is Taskel's turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I'll send the hammer after that one.
Okay. That'll most certainly hit.
I'll keep swinging at the one on Freya because
That'll hit.
not a whole lot else to do at the moment.
Oh, sorry, were both of these targeting the one at Freya?
No, the hammer's hitting the one on the ceiling.
Gotcha. And then the axe, which is a nice big hit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is bad. It's like the vampire's bitten into Freya's neck, drinking blood, and then there's just Freya's dad hitting in the head with an axe, feeling as the blood is.
Boy, get off my daughter.
Fergus.
Step up and try to hit this one from around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Two attacks with the stab shroom. Ooh, natural one.
Second one will hit.
Natural one. Some stuff happens with the stab
That is right. That is right. A natural
So
one.
everyone within 5 feet of me, which is the two vampires and Nolgrim and me as well, make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or take a D8 of poison damage and become blinded for a round. And you have advantage on it if you're a dwarf. It's poison.
Yeah. So the one on the ceiling fails. The one around the corner succeeds. And looks like Nolgrim succeeds.
I fail.
And it looks like you fail.
And so my second attack would be at a disadvantage. So that 22.
What's the DC?
You're not in range, so you're fine.
So let me make one more stab shroom attack because that second one would have been a disadvantage.
No, I'm asking for Fergus. What's the DC?
15.
15? Okay, I'll flash of genius, and you're within 30 feet of me, so you'll pass it.
Okay. Works for
Because
me.
it gives you a +5 to it.
But he rolled a 9. He shouldn't have rolled.
Oh,
right, because dwarf. I forgot. That's on me.
Yep.
So yeah, you succeed.
Yep. So
either way, stab shroom would hit on the second one. And how much extra poison damage was it? On a fail?
1d8, and I think you still take half even if you pass the save.
Okay, so go ahead and just roll that, and then we'll do the.
So -3 for people who passed.
Mm-hmm.
And then The damage for that other one. Would be 18.
You stab into it, screams, thrashes, then turns to dust.
Okay. And so my bonus action, I'm going to turn and try to stab at the one on the ceiling.
I don't think you can reach it.
No? How high are the ceilings?
It's a 10-foot tall ceiling, and it's up there on a spider. I gave it the poison cloud, but you are a 5-foot tall little man.
5 foot, but it's probably not that. Okay, that's fine. Can I throw one of my daggers at it then?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I have one more junk dagger I'm going to throw at it.
All right.
I've been just counting these ones as breaking every time because they were so poor.
That'll miss.
Okay, that's all I can do then.
Vampire spawn. Wisdom saving throws. Succeed. Fail. So the one that fails takes 17. Not looking good. But it will try to dash to get out of there. And it can. Because even with the 10... Because, let's see, it'll have 60 movement, so it's still 40 will still carry it up the stairs, even with the difficult terrain from the spiritual guardians and whatever Milgrim's got going on.
The 10-foot reduction in speed.
Yeah, because if it's dashing, it's got 60 feet of movement, and it had one square of difficult terrain, and then a 10-foot reduction, so that's still 40.
Okay.
I thought everything around him from 10 feet is also difficult terrain.
That's why I counted that in.
Okay. I was misunderstanding. I thought he had it and then Nolgrim had it for like adjacent to him.
No, it's 10 feet. Within 10 feet, their speed is reduced by 10.
Gotcha.
And then the one on Freya will just keep going. Miss. Miss. Jiggles.
You want to go investigate that noise, Jiggles?
No, there's something jiggling the handle down here.
Well, can you come by and try to stop that thing going up the stairs? Never mind.
Yes, you can. 30 feet to there.
Mm-hmm.
Is it gone?
It's up the stairs. You can try to give chase if you'd like.
Nope, it's already out of here. I want to leave you fellas alone. And prepare to... Can he prepare to cast a spell at the creature when it comes trying to run over him?
Sure.
It's on the ceiling?
Yeah,
Okay,
you can prepare
we'll do
an
that.
action.
We'll do that.
Okay. Freya.
Gonna kill this fucking thing. Alright, second verse, same as the first, going to chop at it again.
Your smite should still be up too, since you
Yep.
didn't lose concentration. So
Yeah.
That'll most certainly hit.
Woo! Branding smite.
And your axe is +1, so that is magical. That is
plus the radiant.
19 damage, and that disables. It's already disabled Drenagation. It is not looking good. As it screeches and releases its bite. Nulgrim.
Yeah. How do you like it?
If I was to move here, would I still be able to fire upon the vampire spawn, or did they effectively get away?
You would need to be up on the stairs, and then I would probably give it some cover. Because it is not far away, but it is slightly off the map.
Okay, because this is as far as I can move on a standard move, so if... So would I be able to get line of sight?
I'll give it an AC bonus. But
Okay. Alright. How far away is it, roughly?
About 5 feet.
Oh, okay. Alright, then I'll attack with Eldritch Blast.
That'll hit.
I'll add 1d8, you said, for the Bardic Inspiration?
Yeah, that's what he said.
So 14?
That'll not make it hit.
Alright. But since that first attack was within 10 feet, I get 2d8 radiant on top of it.
All right.
So 15 total damage.
Still up.
Alright. Yep, that's my turn.
All right. You guys hear rustling and banging coming from this room over here around the corner. Hey, finally. And then you guys hear a door open and footsteps from the south there. Taskell.
One more axe strike, and then it's the only thing in view.
That'll hit. I'll do a solid 4 points of damage. The second one will miss.
Yep.
Fergus.
I am going to step down to here. I told you he had a popped collar.
You see Alexei Vailcroft coming out of the room. He's wearing an apron that's spattered with blood, closing the door. He sees you, locks eyes with you, and says, "What have you done?"
Bonus action, I'm going to dash back this way. Problems. Down south.
Legendary action right behind you. Yeah, literally, it's one of those things. You like turn around your way, you're like, "Problems down south," and then you turn back, and he's literally right behind you instantly.
Freya, like bleeding all out of her fucking neck, is like, we need to retreat back to where my suit is.
I would have held my action to attack if something got near me, so it'll probably trigger since legendary action's at the end of the turn anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just stab him one time. Probably not hit with that one.
No, that does not hit. But you take a shot at him, and he just sidesteps. And he's like, "What? You're trying to stab me now?
Well, I mean, you did kind of take our crew.
You're attacking my patients. Why did you let them out?"
Only let one out. Your assistant
Your
let out the
Dorgar
others
friend.
before he could put the other one back in.
We came here looking for our crew that seemed to be mysteriously missing, and we saw your Dorgar friend with a jiggling bag when we were still up here. So, 2 and 2 together.
But we got your number, you blood-sucking fuck.
Oh, for the love of... and he, as a free action, turns to the vampire spawn, says another vampire spawn. He points at it and says, "You, in your cell!" And immediately lets go of Freya and withdraws. I'll do the wisdom saving throw, of which it fails, so go ahead and give the radiant damage. Nine. He's like, "And could you please turn off this spell for a moment?"
Yeah. Don't know if I need to do that on my turn or not.
Yeah, you do need to. It is Nulgrim, the vampire spawn in front of you, is gonna make a run for it. You get an AOL.
Alright. Well,
That will
minus.
miss. So it's well gone now because it was dashing. So that's 60 feet, or sorry, 40 feet of movement, but it's got the winding hallways to break line of sight.
Yeah.
Did it go over me?
No, that's a different.
Oh, this was the one Nolgrim was chasing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it was already off the map. Jigless.
So
If I leave
making
now,
the
will you
bad
tell?
guys- making the bad guys go away, and he isn't harming us. Sir, we're going to need our crewmates back.
Drop the spell. For context, this is like trying to have a civil conversation with someone while you're actively lighting them on fire.
Oh,
Like,
is the spell
excuse me,
hitting
what's your
him?
what's your tax policy while you're burning them with a blowtorch? Like,
I don't know. I feel like I would support audience-controlled flamethrowers at the next presidential debates.
yeah. So what are you doing, Jiggles?
That's it. We're just trying to talk at him, taking the dodge action, and hopefully we can have a parlay here before this guy just starts ripping this limb from limb.
Legendary action. In a blur of motion, he shoots up the wall over the ceiling, and now he's here outside of the spiritual weapons. Because he's not a spawn, he's definitely a full vampire.
Mm-hmm.
All right, future king, this is your decision. Step 5 feet away, and I can blow his ass to Kingdom Come. So what do you say, Fergus?
Sorry, excuse me.
I feel like it warrants a talk.
This warrants a talk. We did assault things that were in his house, but at the same time, our people went missing at his abode. So I do believe this. At this point, we've harmed each other enough. Maybe we should talk.
Okay, I'll put the flamethrower away. And Freya will shut this door right here.
No, Grum.
Nogren will just stay where he's at.
You hear some struggle from the other room. Tasco.
Mm-hmm. Well, I cut out the dwarven song, dropping the spell, whatever action that ends up being.
I believe it's a free.
Yeah.
It just has to be on your turn. Because it's a concentration, if I remember correctly. So you just stop concentrating. You see he's standing there and he looks over and he sees the pile of vampiric ash on the ground over there. He points to it and he looks at you. Who did that?
That would be me.
Your man let that one out, though.
Yes. The only one that we opened the door to was the one that was in the process of strangling Freya. The rest of them were let out by your Duragar friend.
We're trying to
give me a wisdom saving throw, Fergus.
Who? Fergus?
Fergus. You make eye contact with him for a moment, and you kind of fall into that, and you go quiet and slack-jawed. As he looks directly at you, he says, hand in mouth, sit down, and you do exactly that. As he hit you with his hypnotic gaze.
Yeah.
He says,
and with that, Freya's gonna level her crossbow at that dude. Dude, that's the king. You can't go mind controlling the king.
I invited you into my home in good faith. I gave you refreshments. I let you peruse my personal collection.
Yeah, and you perused our collection of crewmates as well.
Yes, an orc, a goblin, and a dwarven bigot. Beg my pardon if I did not think they would be missed.
What position do you think that leaves us in?
They're rapscallions, but they're ours to care for.
Yes, like the patients of mine that you have murdered. And now, I presume, on the loose.
So you agree you fired the first shot?
If you wish the Drugar and the Goblin back, they're alive, if you must know.
The orc?
what is done is done.
You sure do work quickly, don't you?
Well, to be fair, so
He
did we.
points to the pile of ash that is his dead patient. Well, I suppose you're a little bit slower. But that is his turn. Fergus, you're still charmed. You're just sitting there with your hand fully in your mouth.
Yeah.
And yeah, we only opened this door because someone was begging for help. Your man opened the rest of them.
I will deal with Hog in a moment. But
From
these
there, it was
people
self-defense.
are ill.
Well, to each his own. Mistakes were made.
Maybe
You give us our 2 men back. We'll head back to our boat, and we'll be off as soon as our crew wakes up in the morning. We apologize for the indiscretions. I agree. We may have crossed some lines. You may have crossed some lines as well. Maybe the next time we meet, it'll be a better encounter. Diplomacy?
His eyes shoot over to you, and you notice for the first time that the whites of his eyes are actually black, and it's just red dots now.
Oh, he's angry.
Mm-hmm.
Any chance at diplomacy?
You can give me an diplomacy at disadvantage.
Okay. Why don't I have diplomacy on my sheet anymore?
Because
Oh,
it's called persuasion.
Yeah, thanks.
We need to get a new system in the mix at some point.
Damn.
Pretty good, but I think we're hostile at this point.
Yeah.
So maybe it calms it down one step.
Although I think we're still thinking in Pathfinder terms again.
Yeah.
No, 5th edition actually works a lot similar to that.
Hmm.
Listen, this is how I'll say he settles it. This will be a legendary action. Okay, so that'll hit you, Jigless, but he chooses to forgo the damage to instead use the grapple on his unarmed strike instead. So it's just like quick as you can imagine, he grabs you by, I'm going to say like the collar, and he just fully lifts you off the ground like as if it's nothing. And then he shakes you, and all the silverware starts coming out.
That's funny.
You
That's
didn't even
fair.
tell anyone else about that.
So not sure how that all got there.
I have had the good fortune to be in the company of dwarves before, and I will say, turning back to Freya and Taskell, I find that your respect for one's hospitality has gone down in recent centuries.
again kidnapped and planned to consume 3 of our crewmates. I don't know what kind of dwarves you've worked with in the past that would let that slide.
Why do you think I selected the ones I did? But fine. He looks down. Fergus, they're down to Hall. You can get the goblin and the Darogar. What is done on the orc.
And yeah, just do what he says, because charm.
Yep. I'll just take us out of combat order now. If it gets hostile, it will. But
Boop, boop. Still with my hand in my mouth.
yep. Yeah, you're in this room now. There's a table in the center that's got a orc that's down a arm and 2 legs that's very much dead. This looks like it's some kind of operating theater or whatever the horrifying medieval equivalent is be. And still very much blackout drunk, unconscious next to the wall over there is a goblin pirate and a Darogar pirate. And you probably haven't spent a lot of time with the crew, but the Darogar's got like tattoos on his arms that are just like the dwarven equivalent of like neo-Nazi stuff about other dwarves.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he selected well.
Yeah.
I
But
just grab the goblin
Jeff.
from by the leg and start pulling it out because I can't carry the Duergar.
Amigo, if you'll put me down, I'll go help him gather the crewmates.
He just like full on drops you on the ground. I'll just
Look, man, this pirate's got no pride. Stands up, doesn't even brush himself off, flips by, and heads down there.
Logan will drop the spirit shroud and move a little bit closer and say, for what it's worth, I do regret the way things played out this night. Mistakes were made on both sides, but all the same, I apologize, at least on behalf of me and mine.
He turns to Freya. Are you planning on lowering the crossbow so I can go retrieve my patient, or do you want to try?
Chill over the crossbow.
Be out of my basement quickly, please. And he just poofs into Misk and he wisps back Nulgrim. I'll just move us back to the main
Pink as
map.
fuck when we walked in the room.
Jiggles picks the silverware back up.
My God. Also, how did I know I was going to be the one that was charmed?
You were the one that killed it. It was going to be whoever it was. You're still charmed, by the way. That's not concentration.
Oh my. Jiggles would hit him with, does it work this way?
I think it might give you an extra save. Has advantage on new saving throw against the relevant effect. So if he gets another saving throw.
Yeah. And he gets another saving throw if the vampire and any of his allies take aggressive actions towards him, which currently, the worst he's done is told him to sit down and stick his hand in his mouth, which I don't think is an aggressive action.
Nope. He was just on timeout.
And he gave him his friends back, so Fergus is just our new charmed.
Well, I mean, is this an actual like charm effect or is it like mind control?
It is a charm effect.
Because if it's charming, I don't actually have to do exactly what he says. I just regard it favorable things, don't I?
Yeah, that is how it is. But I was just adding a little bit more like flavor. If it was like
I imagine put some extra oomph in it there.
Yeah. A little bit of intimidation to company. Like, okay, my dad's upset with me. I'm going to behave.
I know that. Yeah, it's not like a domination thing. It is just a charm thing. But that's why the two actions that you've been ordered were stick your hand in your mouth or go get your crewmates, which.
I just come back around the corner. I'm like, man, I feel really bad for invading his personal space like this. I mean, I know we had to go retrieve these people, but I mean, you should have seen the look of the guys, that dwarfs and their tattoos. I'm like, yeesh.
Oh, I don't blame you. I think had his servant not released all of the others, we still could have maintained some semblance of peace.
I mean, we were trying to put it back in there, weren't
we? Yeah.
Either way, recovering the two remaining crewmates will do something to recover our reputation after that.
And I mean, it's a good thing we only tied up his friend upstairs. I mean, we didn't hurt her.
Yes.
I have a very good reputation.
I don't believe that at all.
You guys go up to the basement out of the wine cellar. You hear the crashing and the smashing of plates and the splintering of wood.
Tippy toes.
By the time you get up to the first floor, you see the smashed furniture where Lexi has wrestled this vampire spawn and put it into like a headlock. She's like, no, let me go. The sea, it calls to me. It's where I'm supposed to be. Everything I want is down there. It's there. And he goes, no, you're not well. There's only misery for you down there. You don't know what they already did to you. Come on. And he's wrestling. this, like, please step aside. I wish to return my patient to the cell.
No, girl, step aside.
I'm already stepped aside.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I'm not running out the front door, but
Yep.
I'm still like, sorry about that. I did have to unfortunately restrain your friend here, but she should be unharmed.
He's already
point.
gone.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just waving that. I'm just saying that while I'm walking as he's walking by.
what do you guys want to do there?
get
Nothing
down to
stop
the
you.
boat.
Walking out the front door.
Yeah, get down to the boat and just stand watch until people sober up enough for us to depart.
Mm-hmm.
Jiggles has this. He'll put up.
Obviously, I recover my suit.
Obviously, yeah.
I was wondering when we were going to get somebody with a tiny hut.
Yeah. Can I put that on the deck to like?
Sure. That doesn't
For us
cover
to
all of
sit
it, but it
inside.
covers a chunk. Yeah.
I can't wait until Jiggles has a mansion and he gets to describe how his mansion looks.
Oh, he'll never tell y'all because he will be far, far away, living in the life of luxury.
Yeah, as you guys get down to the boat carrying your unconscious, still very drunk crewmates, you see the blind albino bats are now circling Valecroft Manor. And what shall happen next? We shall find out next time.
Dun dun dun.
On the next episode of Castlevania.
Yeah, I had a
Underdog.
feeling that's the direction it was going to go. I'm like, this guy's
Yeah.
been pretty well on the level so far. That's why I tried to not make mess, please.
Well, good
Well, I mean,
game,
to be
guys.
fair,
Good
we
game.
didn't cause a lot of that mess.
Yeah,
His
and
ally
I think,
caused that
yeah,
mess.
again, if his assistant didn't release all of them, I think we would have been fine of putting that woman back in the cell and, continuing on trying to resolve this.